All right, so we're live. Outer Haven.
Assemble! Dun 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 dun.
Hey, look, we got it good this time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That was a. You might replace Stebo, Laz. Like Stebo might have lost
I
his
might
job.
have to, right? He's getting that demotion real soon. All right, what's up, guys? Lazaro here today, hosting the Outer Haven Avatar. I'm here today with Professor Anime, Nikki Vengeance, Monkey D Law, and DGK. And we're here to talk about Kingdom chapters 174 through 256. So we will be covering the Alliance arc, the third faction arc, Sanyou, and the Sanyou aftermath arc. So just for everyone else that's in the chat right now, try to refrain from using any spoilers that's past chapter 256. Just because everyone else here, of course, is just catching up on the journey for Kingdom, and I don't want to see anyone getting spoiled for it because it's such a great ride. So I'll try to refrain from using any spoilers, even if it's stuff that can kind of come and help back some info on the arc, but it takes place later. Try to refrain from doing that. But yeah, so we're going to be starting off with the Alliance arc, which starts off at 174, right after the events of the Battle of Bayou. So if one of you guys wants to start it off and just talk about, the beginning of the Alliance arc and like kind of your thoughts about it as a whole.
Riboku's a scumbag.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, I agree, bro. It's just like, dude, like, how do you let this guy come inside your own kingdom after the events that happened with Oki, right? And it's just like, how? Like, how do you let that guy come in? Like, and just like, it's like to offer an alliance of all things.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like,
I liked how like everyone in the entire kingdom, like the first chapter after Oki's death, obviously and whatnot, was when they were kind of explaining the entire kingdom of Quinn is now like more fearful. They lost like basically their biggest weapon. Like Oki to them was basically like a nuke. Like now, like
Oh yeah.
that was a preemptive measure of like keeping people away, to deterrent. And now that they don't have Oki, they're like, well, we're fucked. Because you see how like everyone else is slowly like encroaching on their borders and coming to like test the waters and see if they can take over Quinn. How did you guys feel about that? Knowing that like Oki literally was like the reason they didn't get invaded.
I'm sorry to
um,
do this again,
yeah.
Laz, but hashtag fuck Moby. Like that shit. Like I'm sorry. That's the last time I'll say it, Laz. I hope.
You're
So,
breaking my heart
but
right now,
I
Nikki.
know I'm sorry,
You
man. But I'm just
really
saying,
are.
man. Like that's how I'm. Like Mobu's not gonna get that kind of rating. That's what I'm saying, man. Like he isn't gonna get that the Oki
Okay.
respect. Yeah, that's okay. Sorry, I'm not gonna shit on Mobu anymore.
Okay. Well, we'll just say right now, like he took a massive L, but like he'll redeem himself later on, hopefully. Um, But I mean, like obviously, of course, we saw like how like Riboku came in, and the reason being was because that Shunpei-kun, who was the Sao King's lover, was pretty much abducted by Ryufui and used as a hostage. I mean, like, what did you guys think of that? Because like I found it like so weird that like obviously this is something that like in Kingdom they'll for sure talk about, like the gay couple that they had with like the Zao King and this guy. So like, did you feel like it was a weird reason or like a weird like little thing that they use to try and lure someone like Riboku. And then like for the Zao King to actually throw one of the three great heavens into enemy territory, especially after what he did. I mean, like, you think that was like complete suicide mission from the King of Zao, like letting that guy go?
I mean,
Yeah,
I
I
think
actually
so.
like yeah, because I really think like Ruboku's got like he's like one of those guys like if you're the king and you just see this guy, you're like shit, this guy could like probably become the king later. You know what I mean? So he just sees him as competition. So he's like, I'm gonna throw this guy in a suicide mission. Like he shouldn't get out of this, honestly. Like he just finished killing like the great general and now he's just gonna walk into enemy territory. I bet the king was like not expecting him to come back, to be honest.
I mean, honestly, I'm not sure. Only in regards to like, I think it was more not that he cares about like Roboku as like an enemy, seeing as like, oh, this guy might try and usurp me, but it just shows how much like of a like he cared about who the hostage. You know what I mean? Where
Yeah.
he's willing to send out someone like Roboku, who like if he's the one who took out Oki, like to Zhao, he should be like like the new Oki for them, kind of. If that's a good way to put it.
they like the
Like
replacement.
exactly, like in terms of prestige, like for Zhao, like all right, before like they were losing to Quinn, right? But now it's like, well, we have Roboku now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to be willing to send out someone like
Yeah.
that, it just places like whoever the captive was of huge importance. You know, where like the king, it kind of threw me off because like normally kingdoms like super strategical. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in that
Yeah.
one instance, it was like the author kind of wrote it in as like, all right, this king clearly doesn't give a fuck. Fuck tactics. Fuck everything else. I want the prisoner back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's really weird seeing that, and then how they had to like Roboku had to like kind of like outplay Ryu to even like get out alive. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
kind of-
like Ryofu's a beast. That was funny.
Dude.
That actually made me laugh.
Like,
Yeah.
the fact that he's just like when they were like, oh well, we'll like Roboku's trying to like how do I put it? He's trying to
We'll
bargain
give you
with
like
them.
a bunch. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I'll give you this, and this. And Ryu's like,
Nope.
nah, fuck that. Ryu's good.
It's like you're worth more. You're
Yeah.
worth way more. So
Yeah.
you know, it's either your head or you give me something I want.
Like as
Yeah.
much as like, people like
Yeah.
Exactly. You're either
for, like-
killed here right on the spot, or you comply to our demands.
Yeah, I just love how he did that. Just placed him right on the spot. He's like, "Well, we'll just kill you right here. That's my big plan." I'm just like, of course Ryufu would say something like that. You know, like that guy's like, I know like Riboku is scum, but like Ryufu is like just even more scum.
No, he's
honestly.
actual scum.
Like,
Yeah,
you know, like, oh my god.
how'd you
I mean,
guys
like
feel?
when you look at it like Roboku, like because it's just like, for example, I forget the actual quote, but it goes along the lines of something like, "There are no heroes in war," and it's kind of just going on the fact that like for each side, like you're only a hero because of the people that you're defending and protecting. You know what I mean? But
To the other
to every
side.
other state, you're a monster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't think that Roboku himself is even like that much of a scummy person, but he's just like, well, I'm from Zao. I want Zao to be the best, so fuck everyone else. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Like,
like I was gonna say, like it's quite interesting to see when he makes his introduction, like how everyone
Yeah.
reacts. Like Ryofu's the only like he's like cool about it, and Elsei is just like, who's this guy? But everyone else is panicking. Literally, everyone else is like, even Shin's like shitting himself. Like, oh my god, this guy's aura. What the
How'd you
hell?
guys feel about like everyone in the room, all of Oki's retainers, wanting to literally just like rip? him?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah.
dude, like,
Tao, bro. Tao.
They were like, why the
Beast
fuck is
himself.
he here?
Toe, man, like, because it's like crazy. Because like if I go back and I look at the moment where like Toe was like clenching onto his own fist, or whatever, right, and you saw the blood dripping down. To see Riboku like there at that moment, you would think like his whole fingers would go right through his own hand just seeing the guy right there. It's like, motherfucker, you took my boy down. Like, I'm gonna have to come get you.
Like it would have been cool to see Toho just literally like try to take down Riboku. I think Riboku would have won if they were fought 1v1. But like, I don't know. I just thought it's cool because it shows you the aspect of like loyalty that these people had for Oki.
Yeah.
In a sense that like I was thinking like one of them was gonna go super crazy and try to kill him either way,
like,
and
no
like
matter
Toho had
what.
to like shut him down kind of a thing. But like the fact that they were literally just like on edge, like give me the signal and we'll literally like jump this dude and kill him.
Yeah. Like right now. You know.
I love it because like obviously that's kind of like what Shin is like, will or at least will be later. Is like if someone killed Shin, like you could only imagine all these people in that room.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Kyokai
That would
would
be
be sent on another
crazy.
mission.
Like Kyokai would be like a beast possessed, like there's no way you stop her. But like, of course, like when we saw the negotiations itself, like kind of coming into place, like, did you think like there was gonna be a problem later down the road when like the alliance itself was just made?
Oh, clearly there was going to be
Oh,
a problem, dude.
yeah.
Just the way that the alliance had to come about, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
That was evident that, like, okay, this is. They even said it that, oh, it's going to be like 1 or 2 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I assumed that they were going to fight the Zao after 1 or 2 years, but like, dude, it's just too crazy. Like,
and also I was gonna say too, because like obviously we know we're caught up to these parts right here, but like, did you like when you initially read it the first time, like when the alliance itself was set up, did you think like it was gonna happen like some kind of problem like in the near future, or was it gonna happen sooner? Like when did you initially think like the alliance would screw up after?
I thought it would be in the near future somewhat, but like for how big of a scale the problem became, I didn't think it would be anything like that, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
I
like
like
literally, Riboku took the chance to like just plot, and then he's like, "I'm ready now," you know.
Yeah. We'll definitely
to
see
me-
that part for the Sanyou aftermath, because that's where like things kind of take shape after. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. It reminded me of like a scene basically where like people would kind of say, oh, like let's team up, guys, to like kill someone else because they're like more
Bro.
open to us. And like
Reminds me of my
wink,
RuneScape.
wink. But as soon as that person turns their back, like your friend that you're teaming up with,
Dead.
literally like take the advantage, like, oh, time to kill him. Like
Yeah.
even though we had like a nice
That
like agreement.
foreshadow though.
Yeah, like I saw
Yeah.
that coming down the line. I was like, well, like someone
Yeah.
super betrayed.
Yeah.
And like you kind of knew it wasn't gonna be the quid just because like how they are. And so like it was obvious that Ryufu or
Riboku.
Goku was gonna literally just kind of be the asshole, be the traitor.
Yeah.
But it's kind of cool because it does show you like there were some forms of like mutual agreements where like you don't do this, you don't do that, no matter what. But like like certain things like that, like they didn't even care.
Yeah, when the time comes, like
Because like
the
normally
time-
when Riboku, like basically when anyone right is sent from the king or from an emperor right to go to another state, they're like the other state is not allowed whatsoever to touch that person. Like
Yeah.
so if Ryufu would have actually killed Riboku then and there, I feel like all the other states like they mention it later,
Yeah.
else, but would have literally just jumped on them and killed off Quinn.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like like you're saying, like it's one of those things. If you can't, you have to have at least have kind of respectful, like alliance essentially, like a kind of what's the
Standard.
word?
basically.
Etiquette.
Yeah,
Yeah,
etiquette.
like
Yeah.
It's
Like
kinda
an
like-
and it's an agreement pretty much. Like like
yeah,
like we have this settlement being like in place, and if you break that settlement, then like it's all to war pretty much.
that it's kind of like in the assassination arc from when Rifu kind of like first tried to assassinate Sei. Like literally, they said like we have so many enemies, like there's 6 other states, but they were like it can't be any of the other states because like they wouldn't stoop that low. You know what I mean? Because like they know like if one state literally like tried to send assassins to like kill like a high official or something or like did something shady, like everyone would be against them. Like no
Yeah.
more deals, no more alliances. Like you're shady as fuck. Like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
you're
definitely.
done.
Someone else, like how can we even trust you?
Exactly. How could we ever trust you? So it's like they kind of had to let him go, but like at the same time, I don't know, man. It was just so cool seeing Ryu being like, I don't know, man. Like you literally could die.
He's like, yeah, because
You could. Possibly.
his mind, bro. He was thinking like, right now you're OP, right? He's talking about Riboku, you're
Yeah,
OP.
take him down
but
right now.
but later, if I'm gonna become a king and you're gonna be somehow the king of Zhao, like
I might need you.
I might need to kill you now because even if I have to fight all. That shows how OP though Riboku is in terms of like everything,
Yeah.
like politics, strategy, everything. Because like he was worth basically doing the unthinkable just to kill.
Yeah.
Enough.
I mean, yeah, like Riboku is something else, man. And I'm like, I also want to make a mention too later on into the banquet that they had afterwards, the confrontation between Riboku and Shin. Like the moment when Shin sees Riboku, right, and he's trying to pull his sword, when obviously he has nothing on him. It's just like at that moment, like if you like, you could like, I couldn't see Shin be one of those characters that would like hold a knife or something in his pocket to try and do something to Shin, but I mean to Riboku. But it's like one of those moments, like you would kind of think like if he was some kind of different character, he would have tried something like that, knowing if Riboku was there.
Yeah, like he killed his master. But I do love the Shin aspect of it where he's like, oh, like Oki would be disappointed in me if I did manage to kill you this way because like it's not on the battlefield.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Straight
true.
up.
Yeah.
But like I feel like if it's something like Kyokai, like she wouldn't give a fuck. She'd be like, well, like time to assassinate you.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And then like
But,
what?
I was
Oh, sorry. I was gonna say
sorry,
like what the
yeah.
impressions were like of that conversation, like because to me, like from that conversation, like there was a lot of foreshadowing that like some stuff was gonna end up going down between the two of them. Like even if not for like in the soon, but like in the near future, like if they're like later on or something.
Oh, between Shin and Riboku.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Like they're setting up Riboku to be like the person that Shin literally has to take down.
Yeah.
And like it's gonna be cool because obviously like from what we know now is like the only way Riboku's probably gonna die is either by Shin's hand or I should say by Shin's hands and on the battlefield, which it's hard to imagine like even now where we're at way later just because like from seeing how OP Riboku is and like hearing I can't think of her the Riboku's like retainer that's a female. I can't think of her name
Kane.
right now.
Yeah, Kane.
Kane. How she even says like you would think he's just a strategist, but
Yeah.
he's been like a lot of battles himself.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Yeah, and I mean, like There's only before you go, Nikki. There's also one thing I just want to mention. It's probably like my favorite like page in the entire like arc of itself. It's the one where like Mobu's like drinking, right? And it just shows him like his eyes like all messed up, and he just smashes like the jug onto the table. He's like, "We're out of liquor. We're leaving."
I love that because that shows
Like-
the etiquette
Yeah.
aspect of it.
Like,
It's
he's like, I said it for ages. Like Mobu, regardless of what happened, like he's still my favorite character. But a moment like that is just like, yo, when you became badass and you became like the guy at that point.
Not to me, but okay.
I mean,
Maybe later. That's the most I could say.
yeah. But Nikki, you were gonna say something?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna go back a tiny bit about the negotiations. Like I
Yeah.
have to admit, like Ryofu would be a great like haggler for you. Like if you needed like a manager or a lawyer or something. The way he was just so sick against Riboku, he was just like, look, dude,
Yeah.
like even if you do this alliance, right? I'm still gonna kill you, you know. So you better give me something more. And he's just like,
Yeah.
okay, wait, you know what? I want one of your cities. And everyone's like, is this guy crazy? Ryofu wants one of his cities from Zhao? And he actually gets it. That's what makes me laugh. Like he actually does the deal, and I'm like, wow, Ryofu's like,
it
Didn't
goes
he
to show-
manage to gain like 2 cities though?
Yep,
Yeah.
yeah,
the
exactly,
best
'cause-
city to evolve.
Yeah.
yeah. Kanku's because it's it's on the borders of if I remember, Wei, Quinn, and Zhao. So it's a really good strategic kind of base to have. So it's that was such like what Ryofu did in the long run is actually quite smart.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like a
Dude,
terrible
he
deal for
knew.
any other country.
I like how Ribuku knew what was going on the whole time. Like, because right when, like, Rufui asked for, like, that territory, like, he was already aware, like, all right, this fucker. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he literally... Yo! It's like if you're playing chess, like, Ryu was probably, like, 5 moves ahead, and Ribuku was like, I see 10 moves ahead, so I'll actually give you your little city that you want, but, like, I'm gonna lay a trap. You know what I mean?
He's
Yeah.
playing Monopoly. He's asking for like the nicest fucking.
Exactly,
tiles.
asking for, like, the 2 blue spots. Like, fuck
Yeah.
out of here, bro.
But it's like it's literally like you're in debt though, so you can't like say no.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
But no,
And
I love it because like that's why I like to see in some of these characters, even though like we as readers might not like certain characters like Rufu and stuff just for what they are. I mean, we like them as characters, but we don't like them as people. Put it that way.
Yeah.
So it's sick because like he mentions it later too, and like he's literally the best when it comes to economics and like political trading.
Dude, the fact that
Exactly,
he
like-
literally be like, because especially in like that era, like it's a caste system, so like
Yeah.
if you're royalty, your children are royalty, your grandchildren 5 lines down are royalty. If you're a merchant, your father was a merchant, you're a merchant. 5 lines down, you're a merchant. Ryo was literally broke that caste system for himself and went from being like a merchant to like a high person, or like literally one of the highest people in what's it called, like government. Maybe that's super rare, and it just kind of like speaks on like his own ability.
And
Yeah.
the thing I found really interesting as well is like it's quite sad in a way, but it's quite cool. Like the way they just dismiss Elsay, the whole meeting of the whole negotiation. He's just in the
Yeah.
corner, just on his throne, but no one's even paying attention to him. And you're just like, damn, man.
Yeah, I
like,
don't even need him.
he's- Like Ryofu's so powerful now, you can like disrespect the
Exactly.
king, basically. Like
Ryu gave the
savage.
word, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's like
Dude, it's crazy.
I love it because
Like-
Aizen like even knows that like he's like fuck me, like I'm the king, I should be the guy talking to Goku.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
But I can't.
Yeah.
It's deep, man. It is deep.
I guess if you guys want to jump into like I guess we can jump into the training portions of it, like kind of before we get into the actual Wei War. Actually, let's talk. We didn't even talk about yet, like the fucking alliance.
The third
Like, how do
faction.
you guys
you
feel
mean?
about that?
Oh, the third faction.
No, I'm talking about straight up of the Zhao and Zhao and Quinn teaming up. Like when he
Well,
brought that up.
Initially,
Really mentioned that.
yeah, I mean, initially, like when I saw how the alliance came to be afterwards, you can already tell like there was a bad like vibe going through the room. Like you knew like eventually like someday something bad's gonna end up happening. It's gonna lead to like an all-out war. And considering like the bad blood that's already, because the bad blood from that wasn't just from Oki. It goes like way back in the
Yeah.
series from like the previous wars that they had. So we knew that like for a long time these two states have never liked each other. So the fact that like this, it's like the tip that scales like the iceberg kind of like scenario where like this is like the last straw that breaks the camel's back before like that camel just fucking goes berserk. So
I mean, even just looking at the fact that what's it called? Like, if you look at like how the alliance was formed, like you could just tell that it was gonna fall apart.
Yeah.
Just the fact that, like, for example, like,
threat.
no, yeah, like not even just that, bro. But like based on like the example that you brought up, like let's say, that you're like going with people, and then you're like, let's say, oh, let's team up, buddy, and then you stab that guy in the back. It's just so obvious. Like they didn't even like when they made the alliance, they weren't like, okay, like. Quinn's out, we're gonna go fuck up away. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're gonna go take other people's territories. We're gonna fight together. It was we're going to make an alliance just because we're not trying to fight each other and like detract from each other's forces right now. You know what I mean? Like you guys stay in your side, don't cross our borders. We're gonna stay over here. Yada yada. You know what I mean? Exactly. It was never like we're making an alliance to help each other. It's just we're making an alliance so we don't lose more forces. Exactly. Exactly. Like it wasn't even like they were trying to help each other. Like they were just saying like, you do what you want to do. We're gonna do what we want to do. Don't attack us. So someone's going to attack each other eventually, because it's just like if they're literally sitting up like gathering like adding to their army, like eventually they could just be like, all right, fuck you, we're stronger than you now. Like
yeah. And I also was going to say too, to make a mention, because during the conversation between Riboku and Shin, there was also the thing where Shin told him like, listen clear and deeply, have my name remembered, because I'm the one that takes you down. Like the foreshadowing for that I thought was just brilliant. But like if you had to think like when these two are going to clash, like this feels like something that could happen like maybe like many years. So like when do you think that could happen? If you had to give like a year, like how many years?
I was gonna say like that was I was gonna say that's really weird, lads. I was literally reading that chapter when he said that. I was like, yeah, man, this speech is epic by Shin. Like, sorry.
I think it's something like 8-10 years down the line. Like I think Riboku's going to be like set up as such a figure in like all of China that like his name is going to be resounding around like the 6 generals were in like their peak of the warring age. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like that's kind of the whole thing for foreshadowing, like why Shin's saying that. He's like, just remember me, because like when you're at your top, I'm going to come for you.
Yeah.
And like
definitely.
I think the whole thing about like what the author is doing for building up Riboku like this is all of China is going to know who he is, and like they would acknowledge him as being like on par as someone of like the 6 generals, especially because he brought down like Oki and stuff. So that's kind of going to be like how Shin like what's the word I'm trying to I forget the exact word. I think the word's proxy. Like when you surpass? Like not surpass, he's gonna surpass people like Oki that Riboku beat by beating Riboku. I just forget the exact word I was trying to use. Like
he'll be on the same scale, maybe.
Exactly, because like people are going to be looking at it like, okay, look, Riboku beat Oki, beat all these other famous people. Riboku's like the best. That's how Shin will be able to prove, like, all right, I have now surpassed even where Oki was at. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm beating people that are literally better than him. Like that's kind of how I feel.
Gotta find the One Piece.
I was going to make a mention too, because Joseph Logan was saying in the chat, like same with Shin, what he's accomplished is really impressive, because slaves started off in a negative position in society, and it is great because like usually, because I forgot who it was that made a mention about it, but like slaves like don't initially have a guaranteed spot in the military. Like you would have to be born into like these families that can gain you a position in the military. So to see like Shin actually go from like this war orphan to being like now on like a potential guy who could go for general like many years from now, just from a potential standpoint, like it's amazing to see. And definitely with the seeds being planted with Riboku, I can definitely see like him like owning up to like that stature that he's trying to search for.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you think it's quite interesting like they keep paralleling Riboku and Shin a lot? Do you think they have like similar backstories essentially? Like not saying exactly.
I think so. I think Riboku, like the thing that's interesting is like Riboku's kind of doing it in a better way than Shin's doing it, I would say.
Yeah.
In the sense that like he doesn't want like crazy bloodshed. He's kind of like the more of like the thinker than the doer of it. Where like Shin's, just supporting his king basically, where Riboku's kind of like trying to be the king in his own way. I don't know how to put it else.
Yeah.
Like they are very like parallel characters, and so I feel like we'll see more of that later. especially if if and when Shin ends up fighting him, and always
Yeah.
to give the before death backstory of how Shin went down. Probably
Has
some-
anybody?
Exactly.
Oh, go ahead.
You go. No, you go, Professor Anime.
All right. I was gonna say, has anybody read the Lee Moo chapter?
I've read it maybe I think a couple weeks ago. I got to refresh on it, but yeah, like I don't know if I should say anything here about it, just because like just because of the current arc I'm on right now, it might have some stuff. So I'm gonna hold back on what I'm gonna say,
I got you.
just to play it safe. But like, if you want, because you're catching up, if you want to talk about that, you could.
I was just gonna say it gives like I wouldn't say it's personally like a backstory. It's more so just giving more characterization towards Riboku.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah, it does. Yeah.
that's all I was gonna say.
Yeah,
Like-
I honestly see like the side stories, like whatever, like the mangaka Hayashi Sahara writes. I know like some people say like it's non-canon, but I do feel like if you want to read those, like it could have some ties to the main story afterwards. But I don't know, it's one of those things where like you probably are best like catching up and then reading it, or like you can kind of read it along the journey. Like it explains things better, but like I guess like the element of surprise could be ruined afterwards if like it's supposed to be like a big thing later on. So I don't know. I guess that's how I would see it, but I still find it very enjoyable, those kind of side stories, because it really dives into like these characters who we maybe hear about for like one chapter or two, and we don't talk about them for like 100 chapters later on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess like the last part we could talk about with the Alliance arc was the stuff with Ohan's introduction, finding out that he's part of the main family of the OU. So finding out that like Oki was like only like the cousin or like the side, like the side family. Which I thought was crazy, considering the stature of that man himself. Like he would actually be one of like the main people of his family. But to see that like guys like Osin and like Ohan being like the main family, like it's pretty crazy. And for Ohan to say like, oh, that guy's just a third, like a reject, pretty much. Like it's pretty crazy.
I think it's kind of like a good parallel to that would be like the first thing I thought about was Naruto when I saw that. Literally, Oki would be like Neji. That's who that character would be. And then like the main family is like. Even though Neji would be better than most of the people in the main family, they're just like, well, nah. The main family's like what upholds the family name and honor. Like, fuck out of here, we're better.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what it was. Like, dude, like, come on, let's be actually serious. There is no way that even though he's part of the side family, that anyone would even question that Oki's like the best. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like, for example, like, why didn't your dad become one of the 6 generals over Oki, who was part of the side family? Clearly, he showed more accomplishments. You know what I mean?
It's
so
like
I think it was more. I think it was just like him saying like, "I'm going to be better than even Oki was because by blood, technically, I'm part of the main family." Fuck that, dude.
It's like almost like saying it's like, why is my 9th cousin like twice removed is like a 6th grade general, and I'm like the firstborn, and I'm just like struggling just to get that position.
Yeah, because like I don't know, like it's interesting because Oki then kind of at that moment reminded me more again, kind of like what he said is Neji, but as well as like Shin is like no matter where you're born in the system, you can still become the best.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess like right now we can probably move on to the 3rd faction arc, but like just really quickly we can probably say like what was our initial thoughts on Ohan? Like did you like his character like when he was first introduced, or do you feel like it's someone that's gonna like grow over time? But initially, first impressions.
I don't really know what to think about Ohan first. Like I just thought like I don't know. Yeah, I was like, oh cool, he's from the Oki family or whatever,
Yeah.
Yo family, but I didn't really have like a feeling towards him besides that he treated like Shin like an asshole.
Yeah, I was about to say
definitely.
that, dude.
That's it, really.
Hey,
Like,
you can
there's not-
definitely think like just based on their conversation, like that one, like the one time they met, like you already knew like there's no way these guys are going to be like friends later on down the road, just off the first impression.
Yep.
I mean, I kind of felt like it was gonna be. He was clearly saying about for rivalry. That's how I felt. Like again, to reference another character is Eustace Kid. That's really how I imagined him. That's where I saw him in the story. Was he's gonna be one of the top people, like in the new generation. Like he was
definitely.
Supernova.
Yeah.
Or Goku to Shin's Vegeta. Maybe.
Ooh.
I mean, or Goku to Goku, Shin, and Vegeta's Ohan.
So what's Moten Piccolo?
No. Moten's the best.
No,
He's
no,
actually the
Moten
best.
is.
Yeah, Moten is. Yeah.
If anything, he's
Moten-
Black Goku from the future. He's killing everyone.
Yeah.
I would say that.
But
I would say
What?
that.
he looked
What
like
do you mean? Like, bro, like Ohun, he's cool as a character because when he first shows up, he lets you know I am the man. Like, literally, like based off my family, based off stature, I've been practicing my whole life. Literally, like he's putting off like this aura of like I'm the best, and he's like presenting himself at his like peak at all times. Moten doesn't even care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He, like,
He's
comes
so
in,
lax that he's like, bro, like if I have to do it, I'm gonna do it. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
He comes in on the horse and he tells Shen, "Oh wait, before I start talking down to you again, I should probably like let you know who I am." Like he kind of does all in the relaxed way, like, "Oh yeah, I'm kind of the best, but no big deal."
Yeah,
Yeah.
no
Like,
big deal.
he reminds me of characters like Law and like what can I think of his name from the new fleet or not the new commander from Bleach. For people that know what I'm talking about, I can't think of his name right now.
The new commander.
Oh, I'm trying to
Which
think.
one are you talking about?
The guy who the flower guy. I can't think of his name right now.
Who?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I know
No,
who you're talking
well, I
about.
thought of him too, but
The blonde guy. I know what you're talking
no,
about.
Dan, the guy with the eye patch now.
Oh, what's the
the
new Captain
Please.
Commander? Kyoraku.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
him.
yeah. Oh, him.
Literally,
Okay,
the
yeah.
guy with like the
It's like
shadows and
he was always
crazy.
so relaxed. But when
Okay.
shit went
Okay.
down,
Yeah. That makes more sense now. Yeah.
yeah, but when shit went down,
Dude,
bro,
that's
he would
literally
really pull
perfect.
through.
Yeah, that's definitely a perfect example, bro.
Definitely is. Yeah.
Like, bro, and the thing is, like, even from his family, bro, like, because his grandfather and then his father, Mobu, who's, you know, always like, I'm the strongest man in China.
Yeah.
Dude, like, the thing
like-
is, like, for his character, what I like about it, he's so relaxed, but I feel like later on in the series, like, he's just going, like, for example, he doesn't look like a super, like, he doesn't look super strong. You know what I mean? He looks like, oh, whatever. But, like, later in the series, like, I see him in, like, 7 years, like, being super jacked and just like, yep, I just won. You know, just by like family, like I'm just gonna run through them. You know, that's what we do.
I'm now the strongest man in all of China.
Like,
Yo!
yeah, I guess before we can go into the third faction, I just probably got to ask you guys if you have to choose between the Mu family or the O family, like who would you choose? Like I would take the Mu family myself personally.
Personally, yeah.
Okay,
I would say
Oki was a special person, but besides him,
I say Ooh family.
Like, dude, because like if my father was Mobu and this man like destroyed jugs on tables and just blurt out whatever he wants with no care in the world, bro, like I feel honored to be that guy's son. Like even even Mogu, man, he probably does feel like proud of that guy, even though like to some people Mogu's like fucking crazy, but like he's crazy in an awesome way.
You know, I felt like the Mo family was like overall. It seems like they have a better track record, I would say, in terms of like what we've seen.
Yeah.
Like out of generations, like like their family's been in the army. Like I get it, like so is the O family, but it's just like we're like top generals. You guys are like, you know, like if you like
here.
I don't know, man.
Who do you guys would think if from what we see, right, or what we've seen, who would win in a fight between Moten, and then Ohan? Like,
I think, okay, I'll personally say this right now because I believe this guy has a bit more patience when it comes to battle and he's not going to be hard-headed. I do believe Moten could probably beat him, but it's going to be a tough fight.
Yeah, that's kind of how I see it.
I say Uhan. I'll say Uhan.
This is the thing. This is the only thing. Like I think that they're all like semi-tied, especially like when they first get introduced, like Ohan and Moten, like I see them personally being tied, and they're literally saying to Shin like catch up. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of how they're being introduced. And the thing that like why I think Moten's even better is because if he's tied with Ohan, right? And this guy's using a spear to attack you, and Moten only has his sword. Like, in terms of reach and like actual like how the battle would like go down, like Ohan should win. Like he should. But if you're tied with this guy, like you know what I mean? Like I'm trying to say, like give Ohan a sword and let's see what happens. You know what I mean? Like give them both swords or give them both spears. I'm pretty sure Moten's running through this guy.
And then, like from what we see later, like the fact that
I'm the strongest in China.
Like that's all I need, man. That's all I need. Like family, bro.
Because I'm saying if you're at a disadvantage and you're still like on equal terms with this person, like you have to be better almost. Like you know, to that's just how I see it.
I don't know, like to me, like even though I don't like Uhan because he's so arrogant, like especially to Shen and stuff. I just think the fact that it's Oki's kind of family, bro. I can't like it's Oki. It's Oki's family.
No, I see, but Oki was like a rare like gem in the family. That's the thing. Like
no, but I think like
Ohan's
even like
not
once
related, like directly. I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
not directly, but they're still like I'd say was it the grandfather maybe is the same or something like that.
Well, their fathers are
It doesn't even
brothers.
need to be like that. Like
Yeah, but
that's why I
but
brought
what
up the Naruto
but,
thing.
yeah, but what I'm saying is like unlike he has to reach that like because he considers the side family like nothing essentially. He has to really aim to really surpass Oki as well because it's like this guy from the side family is literally the greatest asset that family's ever had. Like,
I
so
mean,
Ohan has to reach so high.
That's kind of what I'm trying to say though. Like,
my thing too is like going back to what Dan said earlier is like, bro, if you have to go around telling like new people like, yeah, I'm better than you, you're probably not better than them. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
But
Yeah.
sometimes the arrogance can be backed up, man. I mean, there's
no,
some
I
guys
think
that
he can
just
back
like
it up. I think like he's super strong. But the thing is, it's I'm just trying to think
like
of a
he
good way
did
to
like
put
to
it.
be honest, like he did punk Shin. Like he punked Shin a bit. Like Shin wasn't ready for it though, but he
I mean,
punked
but
him
at
like a
that point,
motherfucker.
bro, like him and his whole squad. I don't know, bro.
Listen, a quote
Like
when
they're
I was
all on
growing,
cavalry, and like you know,
yeah, but
they
listen,
look
from
scary.
from a quote when
like
I was
even
growing up, from a quote that I was growing up with back in the day, the arrogant ones tend to fall first. So I
yeah.
really think
Yeah.
Gohan might be that guy.
No, I get your point, but I'm just saying the introduction, like he's just like, for example, like he almost stabbed Shin with the sharp part of his spear, but last minute he changed it to the end so quickly, and Shin's like, oh shit, kind of.
No, that's why I said like when they got introduced, like Shin was clearly weaker than these guys. You know, and like the author was kind of like, you need to, these are the people that are in your generation that are ahead of you for Shin that like you're gonna need to surpass. You know what I mean?
for
Yeah.
Like first you need to catch up and then you need to like beat them out, you know?
for the people
Yeah.
that are caught up, this is not like I'm gonna say it as less spoily as I can.
Don't
Yeah.
say any spoilers, bro.
No,
For,
no
like,
spoilers, bruv.
I
No
won't, I
spoilers.
No
won't say I
spoilers.
won't even say anything. But Laz
You're
and
literally gonna say something.
Laz and Nikki and whoever else is caught up, you know what I'm talking about later with how
Yeah, no,
Oki,
I know what you're talking about,
bumped it.
and when we get there, then I'll be able to like say the stuff like, oh yeah.
For what, Open?
He's tanked more.
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. I guess it's a good part to move on to the third
Yeah,
faction arc. So
factions,
for
Oh
those,
yeah.
yeah. So
Hey, by the way,
before that, so just let everyone else know who just came into the chat just now. We're gonna be on the third faction arc, which covers 183 through 188. So Nikki,
oh yeah.
go and say what you need to say.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt again. I'm just gonna. The last thing I wanted to point out. There's also a minor part when we see the reunion of the kind of the rebellion. You know, everyone who basically helped get Elsei back his kingdom when they tried to overthrow him, essentially.
Yeah.
So there's a little reunion between I can't remember, Kairoten
Karyotan.
and Shin. Yeah, Kairoten, Shin, and Elsei.
Yeah.
And this is the first time we hear about the 5 years before Elsei becomes the age of
Yeah.
his coming of age ceremony, and that was quite interesting because he literally told Shin straight away like, "Can you become a general in 5 years?" Like, and then Shin's like, "What?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean 5 years?"
I mean,
Oh,
yeah.
that's quite interesting because it like kind of foreshadowed all the stuff with that Ryufu has got 5 years to like try to get rid of Elsei, for example.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Elsei's got 5 years to get stronger, basically, to stop that from happening. So it's like it's really like pushed the story quite ahead a lot.
Yeah, I love the fact that like literally he basically had to have Shin become the first person to ever lead a charge into another nation. He said, like otherwise, like all the merit wouldn't go to his faction. Then
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
That's kinda cool.
So yeah, that's all I wanted to mention. Just that's the like little part there, 'cause I thought I think it's quite important for like the long story sense.
Yeah. All right. So I guess since we're going to the third faction arc, so basically our good friend Issei gets a letter from a certain somebody for a meeting, and that person ends up being the Queen Mother, which to me it's like when we go back to the flashback and stuff from Sei's past, and we kind of got like a gist of like, you know, what her personality was like. I mean, the girl tried to kill Sei, and it's just like the fact that we're now getting this conversation. I mean, like initially reading it, like that moment, like the meme was gonna happen. What did you guys think of that? Like, you were hyped to actually finally see the Queen Mother and like what that relationship was gonna be.
I didn't think she was gonna be that crazy, bro. Only in the sense that like we kind of got some of his flashback, right? With I keep forgetting people's names. The kind of like
The
the
chick,
older sister,
Chica.
Yeah.
Chica. The fact that like they kind of didn't really go into the mom, besides the fact that like she was a prostitute. It's like I thought she was gonna be a nicer person. I'm not gonna lie, but it does make sense for like what they did go through of why like she'd be what she is.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's super crazy. Like
Yeah.
batshit crazy. Like I'm gonna fucking kill you, even though you're still the king. I don't care.
And it's crazy to see too, because like for Say, like he was suspicious about like, you know, getting a request from his own mom, because like, and I would think like looking at it as like the reader from this point of view, it's like if your mother tried to choke you to death just because of the events that happened like in her life, because like, you know, having you and like having your husband like pretty much leaving you simply, right? Like you would kind of think to yourself like, why would I go and meet her? Of like, you know, at all. But like obviously seeing like what's going on with like Ryufui, like he's gonna need as many people to try and support him. And seeing as the royal harem is considered as the third faction, like the third of what holds the power of Qin, it's just like he's gonna need that power, otherwise things are gonna mess up for him later on.
Yeah, I just thought it was kind of scummy that when she arrived there, she was actually in the court, you know, took Issei's throne, so to speak, and she was looking down on him, saying, "You know what? Now that I see your face again, I really don't like you still."
Yeah. It's just like,
Oh,
it's like, oh, it's because it's like when you look at it from like how a parent and a child, like how the relationship is supposed to be, to see that, man, it's just like it hurts you a bit, because it's just like, how can a mother treat their own kid like this? But then it's like when you look at that flashback, like that already said it off the bat. There's no way like a person like that can truly turn good after time.
That's probably why Issei is like so, you know, I guess I would say, you know, kind of like cold in a way, you know, because he's so, I mean, like he's calm and collected, but he's also, I don't know, very
fucked up. He's fucked up. Like,
yeah,
damaged goods.
And then obviously we find out afterwards, like from the meeting that the two had, like after we find out that the Queen Mother has always been on good terms with Sei's rival Ryufui. I mean, was that a shock to you when you like you guys read it initially? Like, you know, they found out there was a secret that, you know, they were past lovers, that they were getting it on pretty much, you know, behind the kid's back.
There's only I can't really say it because we find about it like in the author's side note later, but there is, for people that are caught up and know like the actual backstory of that section of China's history,
yeah,
you'll kind of know about why that wasn't like a big surprise.
Yeah.
But
like,
I
guess like initially, yeah, because it's just like at the moment, it's like you think like, okay, maybe she's with someone else or whatever. But for a powerful figure like Ryufui, who at the time, yeah, I could still consider like this, like to be a very powerful figure. It's just like, you know, you have Issei, you have the mother, you have Ryufui. So to have two big dominoes paired up together, and they've been like that since time, like that to me was a big shock because I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
Like initially reading it, yeah. But like to you guys, like what are your thoughts on that?
I thought it was a cool like twist because then it shows you like because obviously in that arc we kind of get into like the whose side is she really on, and then obviously kind of find out more so into it later.
Yeah.
So I thought that
and I was gonna say this too, but obviously like that this moment was kind of prolific with this arc because of, you know, the smashing that they did, which, you know, if you're a Kingdom reader and stuff, you know about the infamous like double page spreads that they have of just, you know, the Queen Mother going in, and like it's like one of those where I personally laugh because of Ryofui's expressions that he gives off. Like he just doesn't care about what's going on. Like this woman's just giving it her all, and he's just like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
like it's pretty creepy actually. Like I don't know who I'm more creeped out by, Ryufui or the Queen Mother. It's just like crazy. He has no expression on his face. It's like, dude, like you're having the time of your life right now. Like,
it reminds me of an old meme I saw. It's from like The Simpsons, where Professor Skinner, and it just like has like the thing pathetic. Like it's just like it's one of those where I look at that meme and just like I can see Ryufui like head pasted on that instead.
Yeah. It was cool because like I like the idea that like we're getting more twists into like the political side again, because whenever we get to the political arcs they call them, like there's always crazy shit going down. Like you really don't know who's on like whose side and shit like that. So it's cool.
Yeah, and it's like I always say about the series of Kingdom, like the politics or the background stuff are what keep me interested in the series, because they are what set up, you know, the main platform, which is the fighting afterwards. So I think it's something that like this manga does a very good job with, and it's just like setting up the events through these types of arcs that makes the next arcs, which regards fighting, to be that much better.
Yeah, for sure.
And then obviously like we go into stuff of like Ku when she happens to be present during like the meeting and overhearing like, you know, the plans to try and like take out Sei, and how she was like hurt in the process, right? I mean, like I really like, you know, when you look at these characters, and I've said this before, like with Shin, he could be having dinner with someone like one night, the next day the guy's head's on spike. So for me, I felt like because of how early we've seen Ku and we haven't had like the true development yet at that point with her, I really thought when initially reading it, like she was gonna be gone. Because there's no way like someone's gonna let a plan like that being leaked out to someone like Sei, you know, when they're there at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love,
like, and
I
the
love
thing,
the later part where like she's literally just trying to like crawl, basically.
Yeah, and it's just like she
Yeah,
legit was an
power
MVP,
friendship.
man.
Oh,
I mean,
for real.
He literally
the power
friendship
friendship.
that whole thing, dude.
But
He's
listen,
like, I
man,
won't die until I tell him.
but listen, Ku was
then
like the
she made it.
MVP though, man.
No,
Like I was really pulling through him. Like she better not die because I want to see like I'll just tell Mobu, bro, just like go in, just destroy these fuckers. Like, but oh man,
but the thing that was always surprising is how much power the harem actually had. I was like, damn, these
Oh,
fucking.
I mean, if you
These-
think about it, it makes sense
that was
though
like-
because all the
Yeah,
like aspects of it in terms of like their dads and their,
yeah,
like,
their
you know,
families and
lineage.
stuff. But it's just like, I'm like, what? How the hell did they get so much
Like,
power? Like,
The
this is
fact
crazy.
that she had more than the king, like at that moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was embarrassing. That was so embarrassing.
yeah, and then
man.
obviously afterwards, like Sei finding out about the information, like spreading out like a bunch of rumors about Ryufui, like, you know, getting it on with the mother, you know, which of course like back then, like in the actual history time, if you did something like that behind like the
You'd be
king's back,
killed.
like you'd be executed. And like I
Yeah.
won't go into details with some of this stuff because there have been a lot of brutal like, you know, executions like in China's time during the war in the States, which if you guys are caught up, you kind of might know where I'm referring to, but that stuff happens later on. But like that's like, and obviously knowing with Ryufui, like, you know, he felt uneasy. Like the entire faction knew like that they slipped up and something happened, like they were all gonna be like death row.
Yeah.
That's the
Like,
thing. I was like really surprised why Issei didn't, you know, do anything.
I think it's just because like he wanted to try and like at the time, like, because remember, like you're going back to like the meeting with Roboku, how he was just on the sidelines. So it's like imagine like the guy like sidelines, he's doing nothing. All of a sudden you just sub in this guy, he scores a touchdown afterwards, and it's like, did he really earn it? It's like, you know, it's like one of those. It's like, did he play the whole game, whatever, or he just showed up last second to do it? Because like you want to build that confidence, I guess, like, you know, hard work and everything. And I guess Sei didn't want to just like, you know, cut the head off the snake. He wanted to show people that he's someone he can trust, not someone who just wants to obtain power and just kind of, you know, do his own thing.
I think one major thing about it was the fact that like he already knew that they essentially had the royal harem on their side. So like in terms of like actual fighting power, like in terms of like who had the bigger army, like Ryu clearly had more manpower. You know what I mean? Like I think like if let's say he killed Ryu, like it would just be like a bunch of his faction would just be like, all right,
like,
we no longer give a fuck. We have a new leader, and this new leader's taking power. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't really end the problem. Like they need to like the whole thing is they need to get everyone under his faction to willingly want to join under Issei. That's why like they spread the rumor to try and get some of those royal families to like then support them, and that's why they were confused about like why is everyone leaving our side? You know. Like it was more I think the whole point was that it was more effective to just spread those little subtle rumors because they knew they would detract from his power and add to their own. But if they fought him head on, they were going to lose right away. Like, you know,
they could have like came at Ryufu like, you know, with a like full fledged like here's 20 people that say like you know you're going out with her, you're you know, having sex with her.
Dude, and he could have killed all of them.
No, yeah, because his faction was so fucking higher that like they could be like, nah, like it never happened, and then that would that would have been the end of it. Like.
Plus, like, you can't go and, like, like, when we first see, like, for example, like, when we see Oki and, like, where he was living, he had a whole city. You know what I mean? Like, Ryu, when we see where he is, like, you can't just go in and say, all right, we're bringing out the Royal Army, like, 20,000 deep, like, we're going to go capture him now. Their defenses would be, like, 80,000, and they'd be like, you're capturing who?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like
Mobu.
It's not happening. Like, that's the thing. It just wasn't happening at that time.
The 4 pillars were, like, alone enough. Like, that's how I see it. Like, the 4 pillars were, like, in a sense, his, like, top commanders, basically. Like, they were his, like, trump cards. And the fact that he had 4 of them, and like, what? 4 pillars for the king right now would probably be Shin, Heki, Shinbokun, and I don't even know who else. Like, you know what I mean?
I would have to say 10.
Yeah, okay. So that, like, no,
like, I mean, she was one of the originals, Nikki. Why are you laughing?
But when you look,
it's funny though.
When you look at the hero and pure strength, it's not even close.
Oh, not at all, dude.
Yeah. And it's like also I've just realized that when Elsei goes to meet his mother as well, it's really fucked up when you think about it, because like even though it's just the manga, you can just feel there's so much tension between them, like no one's really saying anything.
Yeah.
Just they don't like they honestly just there's no love there essentially, like no one cares about each other. And then I felt so bad for Elsei to swallow his pride and just basically bow his head to like get the third faction from them. Like, oh,
And he didn't even really have him.
yeah, I felt gutted. I was like, damn, savage.
Yeah.
Man.
I mean, like, is there anything else you guys want to add into the third faction? Because I think we kind of covered most of it.
Oh, the last thing I just want to say, bro, the doctor scene when all the top doctors roll in, like,
Oh, yeah.
that was literally, I'm not gonna, that was a hype moment for me, because it's like they literally showed it like, yeah, we got this. Like, we don't know what it is, but it's already gone. Like, she's cured. Like,
Yeah, no worries. You know, they have their own, you know, I won't say his name because he's in One Piece and he shows up later on, but like, you know, the Surgeon of Death, but like, the true doctor, you know, like, he came through, you know, did his business, and, you know,
Like, was that
cool
it?
was good. Yeah, that was
Can I
it.
go home now? Like, come on, guys.
Can I, he wants his rupees, and that's it, bro. Like,
Yeah, like, I mean,
yeah. I mean, like, they weren't rocking the yen back then, so like, I'm pretty sure they would just go like rupees or like something like that.
Yeah.
Then I guess we can go into Sanyou now since we're pretty much at it. So we find out. So we know that Sanyou, right? We'll go from the very beginning. You know, the invasion that started with Mogu. You know, at the helm of this like 250,000 army, and he has like Osen, Konki, and preparations to take down Koru City. And obviously, like when we see like Mogu at the helm, like, you know, him being like the commander in chief. I mean, what was your thoughts initially on it, guys? Because like to me, like when I saw like Mogu being the guy, I'm thinking like from old age, you know, he's probably the most experienced. So it makes the most sense to have him kind of like, you know, the one taking care of the army going forward. But at the same time, thinking like maybe Konki and Osen, right? Because these are like, of course, close to 2 generals. Like could be like eventually like 6 generals if the position system were to come back. I think like these guys will really make their mark initially. So like they want to be the commander in chief, but they would do just enough where like they could be at that level as well.
one thing that I really liked about the fact that Mogu is leading is how everyone kind of referenced, like everyone but him, how they referenced him. Like, not his own soldiers, but like everyone else in other factions. They're like, yeah, this guy's super mediocre. Like, he's barely you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I love that they were saying that, but they're like, but he always wins. You know what I mean?
He just
like,
finds a way, man. Like
exactly. Like, he doesn't pick the flashy strategies. He's just like, yep, we're going to do this nice, you know? Like, if I have to sacrifice 10,000 men to win, like, I'll even throw in 11,000, you know? Like,
yeah, man. Like, you know, it's
like,
all about the W's at the end of the day. Like,
that's what I'm trying to say. Like, you can say he's super mediocre, you can say whatever, but he's still alive. You know what I mean? Winning battles on the battlefield. Like, come on.
Definitely.
Like, he might not be individually like as strong as some people, but clearly, like strategically, like he knows what's going on. He's not, you know, not getting overrun by everyone. Super easy, except for you know who. But
most definitely.
But I don't know. I liked it. Like, even when he first came out, I really liked the fact that they kept like saying that he's super mediocre, just because it's like you might say he's mediocre, but like all those super great generals that were like you thought were the best are literally in their graves. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, like, I liked it.
I mean, does anyone else want to kind of add into that? You know, like, you know, with Mogu being like commander in chief, like their thoughts, or we can kind of move on.
It was kind of like, I don't know how to say. It was like I thought it was like a trolley move at first. I was like, really, this guy, like the guy who's just like just average. Like,
that's what I'm saying, dude.
But
clearly
then
above average.
But then I thought about it, like the people they have in this army and stuff. I was like, okay, that means it's kind of more of Uhan and Moten's and Shin's time to shine a bit more. So when I thought about it, I didn't think Mogu like too much about how like what he would do and stuff. So I don't know, because everyone just called him average. I kind of just went with the flow about that. So it was quite a surprising pick to me, but it just kind of like the underestimated way. That's what it sounded like. It sounded like to me, it's like they're just going to send this guy. So yeah.
And I mean, like, obviously, like now, like we're going into like Koru City, like the whole siege, right? And we see like how like the Gyokuhu army, how they have like these siege towers, and obviously like when we know like of the U family, like these guys are packing money, right? Like, you know, like it's sad because like you look at Shin and it's just like, you know, he's this war orphan. He doesn't have like, you know, the money or the rupees to kind of like back up, like, you know, just to do something crazy. But to see like the siege tower for the first time in use, I mean, like, did you think it was a really awesome like strategy, like kind of battle tactic that they used to try and like take over the city?
That was super awesome, bro. Because like from a reader standpoint, especially like looking at it through like Shin's eyes, he's looking at it like that was the first time he sees like walls, like city walls, and he's like, "Yo, this. How the fuck do we take that? You know, like I can't climb it. I can't just jump and cut people like I usually do. I'm literally powerless here. You know."
Yeah, like
And he's literally
fight for other people.
exactly. He's looking at it like I actually don't know what to do. Like this is a battlefield. This is what I've been prepping for my whole life, and I'm stuck. And then Ohun, who's like literally said that he's better than Shin, is like, "Listen, scrub, like I got it." Yeah.
I remember this when I was reading. When I saw the tower for the first time. I remember like Den Ryu, one of the big dudes, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking to myself, like, I have this weird feeling Shin's gonna ask him, like, here, grab me by your hands and whip me right on over, and we're good to go. And I'm just like, yeah,
Zoro versus Pika, like, I got it, guys.
Yeah, he's just gonna cut up the city, and that's it. Man. Like that's all it's gonna do.
One, I don't know. I really like Siege Tower.
I love how Owen is literally like the special Black Ops. Like he had the best of the best crew.
Yeah.
Bro, they rolled in there. They rappelled down the walls instantly, and took it over so fast.
Yep, that was another thing because like especially how they first got there, they were saying like, all right, this is our siege tower. Fuck every other unit. We want all the glory. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're doing
like,
this by ourselves. And they're literally like one unit is fighting off an army on the wall. Yeah, you might be able to say like, okay, like their entire army because of like the constraints of the wall can't be like right up against them. But when you think about it, they're surrounded on every side. And their forces are enough to like actually be able to deal with that, you know. And they thought so far ahead, bro. Like that was just super cool.
Yeah, and it's just like afterwards, like seeing how like they took the second city right after Wuhan's unit. It's just like this guy was just coming out here, just taking souls, digging holes. Like he just didn't care, man. Like after talking up what he did, like he wanted to back it up as most as he can, and like to see that, like it's just like he pulled off the accomplishments, but like still to the end of the day, like he's still a dick. You know,
I love when Shenlei just jumps up and
on those siege towers, man. I was like, holy shit.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Because it changed like the whole dynamic of like the manga. Like before that, it was just like the strongest thing you saw really were like the cavalry, or not the cavalry, the war chariots. I think, you know. And it's like, but even like against the wall, like what are war chariots gonna do? You know?
Yeah, because it's like it's not like in a form like technology and stuff, but this is like the mechanics that they kind of had to work with.
Yeah,
make shit and stuff that kind of helped them win these battles. And it just shows that like you look at like our time now, like it's so easy to grab a gun or like a rifle or something, where like these guys were legit crafting, like they're probably like, taking down their own homes to build these siege towers. Like just because they had to win that war.
The engineering that had to go into it, and like what's it called? People like thinking up ahead. Like it was definitely a big deal.
Yeah,
like the amount of manpower that like just to construct one siege tower would take, and then you have to move it to the battlefield. It has to be hidden so they don't destroy it. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot that goes into just that one siege tower coming. You know?
They made a point to say it was like super rare. Like only the rich people had it.
Exactly. Because like it wouldn't be practical. Because like even if Shin had one, like his unit can't be moving around with a siege tower. His whole unit would have to be dedicated to moving it. You know, like
they had like 6 fucking like oxes pulling that shit.
Yo.
I was gonna mention this too because like we forgot about the part with Shin, seeing like the violence inside the city and how like those Quinn soldiers are just like destroying all those civilians who had nothing to do with what was going on. And then seeing that amazing moment when like Shin just goes up this guy and he just kills him. And I'm thinking to myself, like, like normally on certain circumstances you would get killed for that because you kill one of your own guys and stuff. But I just love how like Shin stuck to his own guns, regardless of like to me, like if anything, it reminds me of Luffy. And I won't say too much about but like to me that's what it's like. You stick to your own guns, you stay to your own beliefs, no matter what it is. Even if you were to get demoted or you were to be put on trial, like you believed in what you believe in. And like to see him do that, honestly, that was just absolutely amazing. He just stayed true to his character and what Shin is as a person.
I think that was like that.
I was like, shit, dude. They freaking burned the bodies. They raped people. They killed the children. Like, holy shit.
And then like they locked him up in the cell afterwards. Like, to think about his actions. And I'm just like, it's like again, going back. It's like on any normal circumstances, you're getting killed, but nope, you're going to prison for the night. It's just like,
bro, like early Kingdom, they like what's it called? The one with like GKO when he was like charging first. Literally, there was a soldier that even asked like what the battle plan was, and he got killed for asking the battle plan. You know what I mean? Like people get killed over like way simpler matters, and Shin's still like alive and kicking.
Yeah, some guy would be asking like, "Oh, what's for dinner today?" And be like, "Oh, beef
you want to
stew."
fucking know?
And then it'd be like, "Oh, fuck the beef stew," and it's just like, "Oh yeah, boom, that's it."
Looks like one less mouth to feed, you know.
You want his half, like?
Yeah. Super afraid to even say yes. Like, no, I'm okay.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Moten save? And didn't he put in like a good word for?
No, that's why Shin was alive.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
because of Moten.
Yeah.
Because
It's
Moten
that-
went
it's
and
that
talked to his
too.
grandfather and stuff.
It's that too, and we go back and like Ohan, Moten, like they got good merit from like their deeds and what they did during like the takeover. Whereas like Shin, I think pretty much had his taken away from him because of what he did to that guy.
I love the scene, bro,
Yeah.
when Kyokai walks up and is like, "Do you want me to cut the bars open for you?"
Oh yeah, I'll literally cut him open.
Yeah, dude, like, oh, I'm
He's
telling
like,
you
nah,
guys, man,
it's
like,
alright.
like that's like I know the early parts, man. Like it's like that's the OTP to me. It's just like when your girl comes in, it's like, "Yo, can I break you out of prison?" It's just like like they're made for each other. But then we go to the go Nikki.
let me just say, because I don't want to spoil it, but there's something later that's kind of it'll come to this again.
Yeah,
That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, we'll wait till later.
And then and the other thing I'd say is it's quite good to see the actual, at least it isn't pussyfoot about the realities of war.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what I would like to say. Yeah. It just shows that
definitely.
this shit happens. Like,
Yeah, like that's the big thing is like if they take over a city, like certain commanders, a majority of them, I'd say, like would be like, yeah, like, whoever takes it over, like your merit, your reward is literally doing whatever you want with the city people.
Yeah, because it's your city now. Like up
Yeah. Like there's no one like above you. So like the fact that like they were literally going around like raping kids.
yeah, that was completely justified back in the day. Like, why not?
Like it was
Yeah,
there.
that's crazy. I know. Yeah. And I guess we can go into the Kikiran city. So like the whole stuff that happened with the Kakubi unit, the introduction of the four heavenly kings, and then seeing that the scene where like Kakubi himself like talking with Shin, saying like I can see you being something really good later on, and like seeing the potential in Shin, and then afterwards as he turns around, he from a message from someone, and he just gets slain by Rinko.
That was fucking crazy, dude.
Before that happened, I mean, the whole thing with Kakubi, I mean, did you think like he was gonna be a character we would see maybe down the road that can help out like during the later parts of the
I was
war,
really hoping, because what's it called? Because like he was kind of like the inspiration, because like he literally said like, Shin, I'm literally just like you.
Yeah.
Like Shin, like, okay, I get like there aren't like as much like plot hacks in Kingdom as like some other theories, but there still are. Like, for example, like Shin gets advanced really, really quickly through the ranks. You know what I mean? Like he's still a kid, and at that point he's what, 300-man commander now?
Yeah.
Right? Like Hakubi, like he's 1,000-man commander, and like he's kind of spent his life doing what Shin's doing. And he's like probably had like a good 15 years on Shin, and he's like, yeah, I'm 1,000-man commander. You could be like me one day, Like I see you climbing the ranks. And it's just like I thought that like he would kind of like stay as an inspiration for Shin, kind of. Like he might be like that older brother type character, like, I see you're still working hard, you know what I mean? Like exactly, like maybe he'd become a general one day and he's like, Shin, I fucking told you could do it too, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, but dude, literally slain that day.
Right away. Let's act like that next panel. He's like,
it's just like, man, like because like they wrote me off the wrong way too,
first.
man. Like
literally that's kind of the stuff I was thinking at first, and no, not even a thing.
The only reason I wanted to see that was because like people that read Tokyo Gold know what I'm talking about. Like that shit happens all the time. Like there'll be a really badass character introduced. Like, oh my god, like later down the line, bro, when we see this person in action, the best.
Yeah.
That panel. Like
yeah. So you're saying, Miles, what were you saying before?
Sorry, what?
I was gonna be like, I know it's kind of fucked up to say, but at the same time, I thought it was actually hilarious the way he died, because he announces him like, I am the commander of this unit, and he automatically gets taken out by Rinku, like in only one, freaking blow. I'm like, okay, see ya.
It's just like initially when I read it the first time, I'm like, what the hell, man? Like, why did he go out? And then it's just like you reread it again, it's like, this is actually pretty funny. Like, it's just like,
exactly.
oh, man. It's like, how do you make a statement like that? That's it. Like, But then it's like you can't underestimate Rinko, especially like we go later on, like the advance to Sanyou, and we see like he infiltrated the defenses, taking down General Ragen in like one attack. Like this guy, I mean, like the 4 Heavenly Kings, I thought were really hype,
crazy.
But just like for him to take down a general, like especially if you go later into the series, like general is still a very impressive rank in the series. So for him to just take down a general in just one swift attack, and this is one of like Renpa's like little guys. It's just like it speaks volumes, and especially when we get later on to Renpa itself. But like when we saw like Shin intercepting him and trying to attack, I was scared to death that he'd probably lose like a hand or something, considering this kid's like walking around with no battle armor whatsoever. He's just like that. He's just asking to die.
Dude, that was a crazy thing.
I mean, he has the plot armor, man.
No, I know that. Like for a while, I mean, like I was kind of upset about the whole no battle armor thing because they literally had a whole chapter when like Shin got back from one of the campaigns, and he's like, "Yeah, time to now buy my armor that I'm not going to use in the next war." Like, okay.
I don't think they found his size from based on.
No, they
like,
did. He got. He ended up buying armor. Like it wasn't like super good armor.
When they were leaving for the war.
I'm surprised he didn't use it though.
That's what I'm saying, dude. It was super funny. Like, why would he not have it?
I think,
okay, I guess you're gonna go in battle with the plot armor then.
I feel like in Shin, if I was in his shoes, right? Like, let's say if I was going on a war where I'm facing like I'm gonna
slow me down.
I mean, I think then too, like if you look at his like stature and stuff, I mean, like maybe like the armor he had on, it would probably like digress him. Like you would kind of like not be able to swing like his sword as like fast as he could, because like we know like Shin, he's known for like his swift attacks, like as a fast fighter. He's not for like just brute strength, which is something like he could build on later on. But it's just like I think like the armor to him probably would have slowed him down, especially since he just bought it. It's like you don't go and like try out a new sword and it's like, okay, I'm gonna go to war and like cut these people down, and then you don't cut one person down with that sword without like fine tuning it and trying it out. Like,
and I have to, and just to point out, I think it was, to be honest, the whole thing was actually a very great tactic by Renpa in the first place. Like, if you start taking out the heads of these really like smart, intelligent people in the armies, then literally you're just giving them like no leg to stand on. It's like it's a great idea. Like it's fucked up, but it's war, innit? So,
dude, this is the thing that was so crazy about that. Like as you were saying, Nikki, like it was good in like it was a great tactic in the fact that like he succeeded in it, right? But it just seemed so batshit crazy, dude. It's like when Dukyo would like run out charging, at the last second, like everyone's thinking like, oh my god, Dukyo is gonna lead our charge, we're all gonna die. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like literally, like him sending it. It shouldn't make sense. Like if you're sitting before he sends out Rinko, right? If you're sitting at like the war room and you're in the tent and like you see the map and you're like, all right, Rinko, you're gonna take out like however many men you need. What you need 300? All right, go. 300 against the entire army. Like once he gets past their like line of defense, he would be surrounded on all sides. You know what I mean? Like, it really shouldn't make sense. But the fact that Renpa's like, nah. If Rinko says he needs 300, he needs 300, and he's gonna do it. Like, it just seemed that much more crazy. Like, how strong is this guy that Renpa has that much faith that he's like, yeah, I'll just send him into the enemy's forces, right? Let him slay a couple people, and he'll come back unscathed. Like what? Like, how does that make like that type of logic make sense? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Side note, like. How do you guys feel, real quick, just about the fact that when Rinko later goes up on the cliff and looks at Kanki's army, like his base, and he's just sitting there, like kind of thinking, like, how do I take it down? And he's just like, well, not this one. Like, he
literally knew.
To me, it's just like something like it's like a shiver down his spine, or like obviously it would show like fear, but it's like he knew initially right there. It's like I don't think I should.
Instinct,
Yeah, it's like a wild animal. It's like it's like, for example, like a wolf. Like you go and see this like big ass bear. Maybe you think you're gonna try and beat it, but as soon as you see that fucker, it's just like, no, I'm not gonna deal with it. I'm just gonna go back into my own cave and shit.
Yeah.
Like
I'll wait till he's hurt.
I'll wait till he loses a leg, maybe his paw or something.
Dude, because like this is not looking good right now.
Yeah. And then, of course, like we saw, like after what Rinko was doing, just the assassination missions that he was on, like to be him, like, go Nikki, go.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was gonna mention as well. They have that little scene. Like I know you guys mentioned already about Moten as kind of the one who saved Shin from getting a worse punishment.
Yeah,
it was really good to see like that Moten likes Shin's conviction and Uhan's. So like I think that all three of them don't like the whole like barbarity of the army and that the raping and pillaging and stuff, but those two just tend to be like, we have to be realistic about it, and like we can't stop it until we get to the top. And
think
the
it was
thing
their
I liked the
family
most
ties
about it,
too. Like,
Well, no,
that-
that's
Yeah.
what that's what
and the
they
thing I liked
explained.
about it most, like I love the fact that Shin, even though he's a bit of an idiot, he knew exactly the same thing as they did, but still chose to do what he did, which was really
Yeah,
cool.
no fucks given. Like,
Yeah, he's just like, nah, like
yeah.
And then just side note too, like kind of going off Rinko from what we see later, right? How'd you guys feel about Renpa with his backstory of Oki?
Dude.
Oh my god!
That was
Like
great.
just
He's
initially,
just a monster, bro.
when we get to Renpa itself, right? Like to me, like if I had to compare it to any other character I've ever seen in like anime or manga, it reminds me of Whitebeard,
Yeah.
and he's probably the closest thing I could ever say to that man's name because like
Bro, especially
Renpa
for how
was
the
like,
end of the arc goes when he's dude, I'm sorry, like to skip ahead. But
yeah.
literally he's like, I'm gonna decide how this shit ends.
Yeah.
bro.
yeah.
Like,
I mean,
what?
like Miles, like what was your opinion like on Renpa, like off the
Mm.
first time you saw him?
The first time I saw him, I mean, I knew he was gonna be like, you know, a hard ass and everything, but once I saw like the backstory, you know, with Renko in him,
Yeah.
I thought it was actually pretty interesting how, I mean, he raised this kid, an orphan like Shin, so to speak, you know, and he kind of like, you know, took the mantle, so to speak, of you know, fuck, what was that name again? Roku or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Rinko.
Yeah,
Rinko, yeah.
Rinko, yes, yeah, excuse me. So to see him like develop as a character from like being a war orphan, losing his sister and everything, like I was like, damn, this guy's like in a way he's just like Shin in a way, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say my thoughts on the Rinko thing eventually when we get to, you know, the big fight afterwards, because like just like his character in general, I thought like he was probably one of the top 5 best like things about the entire arc of Sanyou.
Oh, for sure, Rinko. Yeah.
But
yeah,
like,
100%.
Like,
yeah, and
yeah. How'd you guys feel though when you heard about like that Oki kind of visited him, Renpa, and then he kind of like they had like a drink over, and everyone in the room was kind of like all like stiff, besides
Yeah.
like his top people.
because
So
it's
that's
like
kind of cool.
it's almost like if you compare it to
Yeah.
like to Naruto, it's like yeah, like the whole like the 5 Kage summon like summit whatever, right? And you have like all these different like big power, big leaders and stuff all meeting up, sitting down, and it's just like, you know, like it's gonna be tense because like you have all these like different people with political power and just like, you know, strength whatsoever. It's like you would be just in awe, but at the same time, like because like if you're a new guy or like you've never been in their presence before, like you're just gonna be like you won't be able to do a thing about it.
It's
Just be
like
there
when
just listening.
it's like when you know, I can't say it. Never mind. Sorry.
I
Oh,
like-
go ahead.
The thing I liked the most about that was like just the like sense of like respect that like is clearly shown between them. Like these guys were put in battles against each other, right? And like clearly they didn't take each other's side. Like neither of them killed each other, right? And like one of them lost the war, whatever. But even so, it wasn't on a like, oh my god, I fucking hate this guy. Like, you know, I got it. You know, like literally, like Rempa's like, oh, you want to come have a drink, buddy? Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very mutual respect.
Like it was super casual. Like
Yeah.
it was to the fact that like, all right, Rempa's like, this guy's Oki. He's literally a monster. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because like later in the arc, when they were talking about what's it called? Like when Mogu, right? And Mogu's like when Rempa's going like against Mogu, and he's talking about like I believe he's talking specifically about Oki, right?
Mhm.
And he's saying like you don't know like these
How
people
strong.
were yeah like you have no idea like going against these people like going against like Oki and his army
It's
like
a wall.
exactly like
Right,
it's
beat
so
it.
crazy and it's just like he had that respect for him not because he liked him but because
Mhm.
I think Dan's going on. But yeah, no, I
Oh.
love the part where Renpa lays like mentions he's like when he heard about Oki dying and when he heard about Kyo dying way back, right? That he himself, even though
Yeah,
he
was
was in a
mad.
different state, would have went to war with whoever killed him because
Yeah.
that was like, you know, like if you're fighting for someone for so long and your goal is to beat them, right? And some
Yeah.
random you know, a kid, which was Roku, came over to nowhere and slayed him, and in a disrespectful way, and he knew about it. Like he was ready to go to Zhao and kill Zhao. Like he was like, well, like, you know, we're going off to war, boys. Like,
Yep.
where's Renboku at? I thought that was cool because like it brings like more of the realistic side of it, where like even though they were enemies, like he even said like, we weren't brothers, we were just like rivals. But even still, like he had the utmost like kind of faith in him and like respect.
yeah like he respected his battle prowess kind of you know like
And so it was kind of cool because like the entire arc, let's be honest, the entire arc, bro, was like Renpa trying to prove to everyone that like even though he's super old, he's still on
He's
the
still
level
the
of, like,
best,
great
yeah.
general,
Yeah.
basically. And like Mogu was the opposite, where he like knew he was old, but he was like, well, can't like die and like take that last L. Gotta get that.
Yeah, dude, that was one of the best parts when Shin was talking to Mogu. And he's like, "Yo, literally just beat him and run away, bro."
Yup.
Like,
Yeah, just do it, man. Yeah, plain simple.
dude, I was
That
dying.
was so
Especially
funny,
hear that
yeah.
from Shin, because Shin's always like the type of person like, I'm gonna run through them, they're dead, like they're
Monkey-
not getting back up. What were you saying, Nikki?
I was gonna say, sorry, man. You're a bit like Mr. Roboto, a bit like.
Oh, am I staticky?
No, he's good. No, he's good.
Not right now, but before, like a bit.
No,
like,
it was before I started talking. You're fine.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
But no, yeah, like what Dan's saying, like the fact that it was kind of like a childish way of thinking about it, right? But like that was what clicked in Mogu's mind. He's like, oh,
Exactly.
like okay, like fuck this guy. I'm gonna beat him, and I'm gonna like either kill myself or I'm gonna run away. Like we'll never
Yep.
fight again. Like I got the last.
And then I'm
like,
better, I'm clearly
Yeah.
better.
I got the last win. No matter what
Yo.
happens, I'm better than you. And it's funny because it's like
That was hilarious.
And
Yeah.
I love after how like it reflects in the idea that like Mogu gives Shin a position, even
Yeah.
though there's only supposed to be 2 other 1,000 man commanders. He's like, well, based on his merits, Shin's gonna be the 3rd, the special exception.
Mhm.
I loved it.
I
Yeah.
was also going to mention really quickly because like we're going into like the introductions of like the 4 heavenly kings, and like there was like one moment in particular I just wanted to talk about. But if you guys remember, like in that one page where like Genbo was just like he almost got impaled by Shin's spear, and it's just that one photo where it just shows him all
yeah.
surprised as shit. Like
Yeah.
I'm just like looking like shit like because we knew what happened after the army got annihilated after that first clash, but it's just like Shin like kind of saying like the last war warning afterwards, and just like Genbo just seeing like because that spear, come on, like if anything that could have probably like killed him. So
Nah,
he's just
if
like
it hit
very
him,
lucky not to like.
definitely.
Yeah, I just love that expression on his face where he just looks at the spear and he's just like, oh shit, that almost got me. Like, yeah, I'm good.
Bro, one of the things that I really like about the arc too, like people like Genbo and Rinko and like all the like it's really just the 4 heavenly pillars.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that in their own right they're all monsters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like any
It's like-
one of those
yeah.
individual people could have been in Renpa's position, leading the whole army, and it would have been
Definitely.
fine. You know what I mean? But to see that those 4 people are all under him, like
Yeah.
that was crazy.
Let's use the caliber of how
Yup.
person leading them.
Yeah, because it's like you look at Renpa, right? Like Renpa is like in a way, if I had to compare him to anything, it would be like a spider. Whereas like you have like the main thing being like great at everything, and then like the other legs and stuff are represent like each thing that he's good at. So when you have like someone like was it Kyokai, where he's like the archer. So like when it came to like
Yeah.
battle and
Oh,
stuff,
yeah.
like, he was great. When you had Rinko for assassinations or just straight up fights, he was awesome. Like when you had Genbo for like strategy, he was really good as well. So like to see like all those little things, like you have Renpa like as like the guy who knew all his stuff, but to have like these little guys underneath you that could also do at least one part of what you're good at as well, I think that's really cool.
I think the big thing is like they're not even really just little guys though. That's the whole thing, like they're
Yeah.
super big and important people, but they still all serve under him because they're like, yo, I'm super good, but Rempa's the best. Like if I had to
Yeah.
go against him, I'd lose every time, Like
Definitely.
it just speaks up to Renpa, like, bro, like you have these people under you, like, dude, that's fucking crazy. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, he's a beast. And then
Yo,
obviously,
that's the only way to put it. He's literally a beast, dude.
Yeah,
Like,
he's
Yeah.
equivalent to Ryufu in the sense that like all of
Yeah.
4 pillars were all like top tier. Like they were the best of their
yeah.
fields.
I was gonna say too because we go into like the 10 bows of China. And we found out that Kyoen like has a position with like the 10 bows. I mean, like because we hear like these names and stuff, and later on they have even more meaning in the story when we see like more of their capabilities. But like from what we saw with the guy that shot Oki back in Bio, I mean, like initially when you saw this guy afterwards, Kyoen, do you think like from an archer standpoint, like in combat, that this guy is probably like way better than the one we saw back in Bio?
I mean,
Yeah,
He was-
I'd
he was-
say yeah, because
He
he was one of the 4 heavenly pillars, wasn't he? So
Yeah.
like the whole thing.
So,
well,
was
like,
just off
I
the
just-
title of one of the 10 bows too. Like you're
yeah,
really
exactly.
one of the
and
best
they ran away.
archers. Like I don't want to get into it because it's a little further, but
Right.
in the coalition, like not speaking too heavily on it, like in the coalition arc, there's the one instance, right, where like literally this archer shoots an arrow and it goes like literally gets stuck in a shield, right?
Yeah.
Then one of the people for Chu, one of like the people that also winds up being one of the 10 bows of China, shoots an arrow at the same guy, and literally it pierces through his shield. You know what I mean? Like it had like double the power. You know, like they're just another tier. That's how
I guess
see it.
I guess we must probably say that hype for like the coalition stream. But
Oh,
like,
yeah.
it is a good,
Yeah,
good
no
example. No worries. No, trust me. When it comes to Kingdom, man, like you'll find ways to jump on the coalition right after. Trust. I tried my hardest not to do that too, but like
This is
I
what
mean,
my
it's Kingdom. It's Kingdom, man. Like
Greatness.
the hype.
But yeah, no, like,
this is what my
like that.
favorite picture of the arc was for that. I don't know. It's in the Google Hangouts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let me see
Oh,
this.
yeah.
Love that standoff. The artwork is amazing.
Yo.
Oh yeah, this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't wait to go more into that because like that battle itself like is legendary. Just because like what it represented for like Shin's character in general. Like
Yeah.
Wait, is it still in the Sanyou? Because I can't see it.
It's in Sanyou. Yeah, it's in Sanyou.
I posted it in the
Oh, I know. I can guess what it is. Then I can guess what it is. Yeah.
And then I guess like we can kind of go into like the stuff with like Konki and like like the whole thing with like Genbo and like the eyes.
I was gonna say one thing real, just something small. Like
oh yeah, sure. Yeah,
as we go through. How do you guys feel about when Mobu asked Shin about the glaive?
Dude, that was the
best. Yes.
Shin's literally like, fuck off. Like, dude, that shit's mine.
Yeah.
I don't even care if I can't wield it.
I was so happy that he just like Shin just nah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I didn't even giving it to him either, but like just the fact that he's like literally like, I don't care who you are, like, bro, fuck off.
Yeah. It's like that
why
kid
are
who
you
went
asking?
to like, it's like a kid who went to a carnival and like he won like the big teddy bear and some guys like, hey, how'd you win that? Just like, could you please not like
yo?
I do like that like.
He gave it to Issei, didn't he? Like under his
yeah, it's in one of his wall rooms.
Yeah.
But like I liked how like Mobu. I felt like that moment to me, like it was kind of like a awakening moment for Mobu. We're thinking like I really fucked up, and like if I got his glaive, I would use it to kind of represent like Oki is like said.
I don't even think he was strong enough to wield that though. I mean, he's a little brawny kid, you know.
Oh no,
I don't know. Shin can't, but I think what DGK was saying is like if Shin gave the glaive to Oki, right, or to Mobu, right, Mobu could be like, all right, like even like remnants of like the Oki army, like I'm gonna be the one carrying on Oki's will. I have his glaive. Follow me. You know what I mean?
I fucked up, but here's my way of like
repenting. But then it's just like when I look at it and I see like Mobu's character, man, like the guy broke a jar with no regard. Like I don't know if he would care actually about like Oki's glaive, even though I know it's important. But
no,
just,
I
like,
don't think he cares about. He doesn't care about the glaive at all. It's not the glaive that he wants. Yeah, exactly. It's the fact that, like, for example, Shin said, "I'm not giving it to you," and in other parts, when like people are like, "Oh, like this is the guy that got Oki's glaive," the glaive is basically saying in Oki's like final dying moments, "This is someone that I acknowledge."
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Well,
like,
oh yeah, definitely, yeah, I agree with that.
Guys,
yeah.
And that's why Mobu wants it. He's like, if I have Oki's glaive, people will be like, Oki acknowledged me, and they're all gonna come rallying to me as if I was Oki. You know what I mean?
That and like it's him telling like people that he acknowledges that he's the reason that Oki died.
Yeah.
That's always gonna haunt him. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
And so now, like, because we see him change later and whatnot, but like, that was his way of saying like, if you give it to me, I will carry on Oki's will because I know I fucked up. But here's my way of repenting for Oki's death.
I mean, like, I was just looking in the chat right now, and like Travis was saying that Toe should get the glaive before Mobu, which I would think too, like maybe, but I feel like out of respect though for like Oki, I don't think he would want to touch that glaive either, because like you can't replicate what the man brought to the table. Even though it's like, I agree. Like Toe, like I'll save that for like the coalition because that's where I really want to go with Toe, because like there's so much I gotta talk about him. But like,
I feel you.
I mean, we should probably get back into stuff with like Konki and like like I knew the guy would be sick just by looking at his face, and just like you see the people around him. But like, I mean, like the very minute I seen his guys roll up with that carriage and it has like that bag with the eyes,
dude, that was literally like one. Oh my god! Like it changed because like Kingdom, like it's all about war and stuff, and like there's bloodshed. They show lots of stuff. But it's not like gruesome. Like that was just brutal. Like super overkill. No need to do that. Like why? You know,
it's just like it's way over the top. Like you don't need to go to these like things. But like I feel like I understand where he's coming from. Like you're trying to install a fear into someone where like they won't be able to do a thing about it. Because let's say like you see a guy who's known for like cutting up people or like crucifying and like throwing like fire arrows at them, like missing deliberately, knowing that they can take him out. Like I wouldn't want to go fight that guy. You know, it's just like with Conky, like he was just crazy. And then obviously we go to like the lead up afterwards to him infiltrating Genbo and the headquarters there. And I
Yeah.
felt like that was an amazing moment because like when you see Genbo just looking at the soldiers, he's like, wait a minute, why do you have blood covered all over you? And then Conky just going, I guess you figured it out. He just like lifts himself up and just goes like, so you're Conky, huh? He's like, yeah. He's like, you want to join up? No, thanks.
Dude, that was one of the best moments because even though Genbo was completely trapped, all his soldiers slain, he was like, listen, like I'm like one of the best strategists around. You want me to train you? Like, because he literally looked at him. He's like, yo, I see you using your little underhanded tricks. That was cool, you know, cool. But you could be a real strategist. Let me train you.
Yeah.
Dude, he was like trying to cling to life so hard, bro.
It's just like, yo, let me live one more day. And like Conky's like, I don't want any of that.
Dude.
Your time is up.
Like, as a strategist, like when you first see Genbo get on the battlefield, and even Rinko's like, all right, like we're pulling back. There's no need to even fight anymore, you know?
Yeah.
And like when Shin's going, like they're making good progress, and Genbo's like, just as I thought, you know? And then he pulls up those spike things for like all the cavalry. I was like, oh my god, dude, like stop. Literally just stop, dude. Like they were already be like exactly like, and then he just kept outplaying them. I was like, bro, like I literally thought at that point when Genbo first arrived, like I know Shin wasn't gonna die, but I thought like some other important people to the story might just die. Like you know what I mean?
Like OP he was in strategy. Like
exactly, like
he was way ahead of these people.
Exactly, like someone like Bihei, I could have seen like, all right, well, you know, like fodder. Like,
nice try, but have fun in the afterlife with your brother. Like
exactly, bro. Like I wouldn't even be surprised when they fought him because I was like, yo, like he's literally outplaying them so hard.
The best part of the entire part of that, right, was the only person on Shin's entire unit to be of really use was literally Kyokai, because she kind of knew what's going on, like with like the sound signals and shit like that. And like I guess the other people would be the kind of like the Native American, like the mountain people that like he used that had like really good hearing and smelling, and like they kind of figured out his location. But like even then, like Genpa already knew what was going to go down.
No. That's just like he literally expected them to overlay. Like for example, even the sound thing that you were just saying, he expected that they might catch on to it, and he's like, "All right, change up the signals."
Yeah,
you know? Like, dude. Like he had plan on top of plan. Like I keep going back to the whole chess thing, but like I think it's just like one of the best examples. Like this dude was like 10 moves ahead, and like it's not just 10 moves ahead, but it's like because like battle strategy, like it could shift. You know what I mean? Like if one move doesn't go according to plan, like on like the third move, you have to like have a different battle strategy entirely. It's not just 10 moves ahead; it's like 10 moves ahead in like 5 different battle strategies. You know?
Yeah, he was the kind of
exactly. Like he had like he's literally like, all right, if you don't act accordingly to how I think you'll act here, I already know what you're gonna do. Yep, like in that situation, exactly, dude. That's what made him so crazy. Like I didn't even think he was gonna die like that. Honestly, I thought.
Oh no, yeah, I really thought he was gonna be going on for a couple days.
For a long time, dude. I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
But the fact that Conky is like the ultimate, like, he's not even a strategist, but he's like,
no, he knew.
He's so underhanded that like
exactly
knew how to get past this guy who relies strictly on strategy. Like he did, like Genpa, the only thing he didn't expect would be someone super crazy like that to like do it.
Because the thing about like the whole thing about Conky, it's kind of like going back to like Mobu, how like people were saying, oh, Mobu's super mediocre, yada yada. People are like, Conky, he's just a bandit. You know what I mean? Like, what does he know about warfare? What does he know about like strategy? What does he know about all this, all that? Apparently, he knows a lot. You know what I mean? Like, he might not like be sitting there like, all right, like, okay, like the enemy might do this, this, and this, but like it's like a practical experience thing. Like from his bandit days, like, you know what I mean? Like, all right, we're gonna go like loot, rape, and pillage these places. You know what I mean? Yeah. He had enough practical experience where he's like, our headquarters will get overrun. We're moving out.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
He was so street smart versus like
everyone
else's book smart, because he's
that's the best way to put it.
He brings things to the table that no one else has.
Yeah, he thinks outside the box. That's
Yeah,
what Kaneki's
like
about.
way outside the
Because if you
box.
look at everyone else, like they have their own strategies, like a normal military man would probably have. But like this guy, like he just goes off of like what he knew growing up back in the day, which isn't a bad thing. But like obviously, when you look at it from like other places, right, you would see like this guy is not going like the traditional route of how like a general is supposed to be fighting. Whereas in this case, this guy's using like any and all means to kind of get the job done.
I think that's the only reason he even beat Gimbo. Like, if it was any other, like for example, if it was Osen, like I think Osen would have struggled more because he's more of like a strategical person. You know what I mean?
Like, because like I look at Conky as more of like the offensive general, whereas like a guy like
Yeah.
Olsen will dive into more, but like I feel like he's way more of like a defensive type. Like he awaits for you to try and attack him, and that's when you fall into his trap. Whereas Conky, I feel like he might not be like worrying about defense because he feels like his offense is just as enough to kind of get.
Exactly, bro.
Yeah.
Dude, the fact that he like splits up
That's-
his group in the whole guerrilla warfare thing, you
Yeah.
know, like he literally like you have to be super confident to know like, all right, let's say we have 10,000 people. Instead of going as a unit, sticking together, having each other's backs, we're gonna break up into 10 groups where we each have less of a chance of winning, but we're gonna win anyways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like what? Like
Yeah, and the fact that he himself, as a like vice general, right, went into the enemy's base,
enemy
base camp.
headquarters. Yeah.
Yep, he's like, gotcha.
Yo,
Yeah,
That was
man. Like,
really
I was dying.
that's like
He's
That's what
not
I'm saying.
supposed to be there at all.
yeah.
Like at all. That's why Genbo was so surprised. He's like, "What?" Like,
Like,
because
you
this
were
was the
over
thing.
there.
It was
Like, you
the
should be
one
in your
scenario.
headquarters,
Exactly.
like,
It was
on
the
your
one
team.
scenario. Because dude, like, their headquarters was supposed to be hidden. You know, so like Genbo's thinking like, "Oh, this fucker's gonna try and do some sneaky shit," and he's not gonna expect this because like their headquarters hidden and we haven't found it. Conky was literally so ahead of this guy that he's like, I'm expecting that they might find our headquarters, right? Even though it's hidden, so I'm just gonna like bum rush this guy, and like kill him before he can even do anything. Like that's what made it so crazy.
No, I loved it, bro. It was
Yo,
that shows you the different styles that these generals
exactly,
have.
bro.
He's
Like
not a typical general, He's
Yeah.
he's basically like a general that uses psychological warfare more than the typical guerrilla warfare.
yeah,
Yeah.
He
exactly.
brings fear into his opponents, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and that's like his whole strategy too. It's not like It's not like people fear him just because like on the battlefield, like oh man, like for example, people fear like Mobu, right? Because they're like, yo, this guy is so strong, no one can stop him, right? Like literally, like whenever they see his charges, usually he just keeps going forward. They were scared of Conky for like other reasons. Like he was doing the whole guerrilla warfare thing, right? So like they weren't losing mass amounts of troops right away.
Yeah.
But it was about the fact that like after like the whole eye thing that you brought up, Laz, like that was just to say like it's not like he killed them and then like gouged out their eyes like as they're fighting. It's they were afraid of like what these guys are gonna do to them. They're like, if we even get like killed, like oh my god, like it's a wrap. We're not gonna die good deaths.
Yeah. It's like you think you're gonna be like put like in ashes
they think they're gonna
inside
get
like an urn and
brutalized.
stuff. Like
Like,
no,
they're
no,
probably
no,
gonna
no.
sit
They're gonna
there.
let you be alive for that moment and
Exactly.
they burn you to ashes, and then they're gonna have your kids or like your family members spread the ashes.
And that's what made so many people like afraid.
It's
Like,
like being.
I'm gonna get like tortured to death, aren't
Yeah.
I?
It's like why like women weren't allowed on the battlefield. It's like obviously without any being said, like you would know what would happen to a woman if she got killed by the enemy forces, or even honestly her own forces. Like that's how bad it was. Because like Conky, even like people on his group, like I'd say outside his main like force, people like Osen and Shin and all them, they were worried about like how crazy this dude is. They're like, nah,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah. I was gonna make mention of this actually real quickly because Joseph was asking in the chat, and this is something I'll say for later on. We'll ask, but like between Osen and Conky, who would win in battle? So like I'll say that for later on. And then Gaming Samurai X was asking like, what would you say is his weakness for? I believe it's for Conky. So if you're a manga reader, I won't say anything about it, but I'll just leave it at that. If you're caught up to the manga, you probably know like what I could be referring to or why I'm not saying it.
Yeah,
but
I'll
we
just
have
say
an
this,
answer.
I'm pretty sure I have a good idea.
Yeah, I really don't think there is a clear winner between those two. Only because, like Dan said, one's more of a one's.
I don't know, man.
No,
I
like
don't know.
it's like Conky to me, right? Conky to me, like Dan gave good examples. Like he's underhanded. He thinks outside the box. He's more of an attacker. He's not a defender. Osen thinks inside the box, and he's kind of more of the, I don't know, like the strategist who waits on the opponent to come to him. He's more calm.
Yeah.
collected,
And then
like,
catches them off guard. I
like,
totally agree.
I think it would be a stalemate in my opinion. Like I don't think there is a winner between the two of them. Like even if
I
he has the
don't-
same
oof,
amount of
it's
people
hard.
and shit like that.
How are you thinking about it, Nikki?
No, it's because I'm really caught up. So there's a
Oh,
lot of
wait, don't
things
spoil
that's
me. Don't
kind
spoil
of
me.
Yeah, I won't.
yeah.
I'll just say,
I'm
I'll
not
just
gonna
say
say
this based
anything,
on based
but
on
yeah,
it's like on what we've seen. Like me personally, I always think that defense is what wins championships. And if I want a defensive man on my team, I would take Osen.
That's what I'm. Yeah, I like Osen as well.
Because it's just like I know like the offense
I
can
would
get you
choose.
so much done, but at the same time, if you look at the casualties you'll get on offense compared to like on defense, you like the chances on the defense way more.
Oh.
Yeah.
and the thing
I'll
is,
say, yeah.
I'll just say about this because the thing is like maybe I'm going a bit far ahead in Sanyou arc, but the thing between them is like they kind of seem to work in a weird kind of cooperative way, if you know what I mean. Like I
Yeah.
don't think like their moves are just like connected to each other. So if one does something, the other will kind of do something else, if you know what I
Okay, I
mean.
think we'll leave it off of there because I think I know
Yeah,
what you're talking about there. Yeah.
yeah. So I'll leave it for now. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess like we can probably dive into the like the very first battle between like Rinko and Shin. So the process where like
Oh,
Rinko loses his fingers and like his
oh,
horse like has a
Oh,
bone
like the
put
before
actual
them.
that,
battle?
wait.
Well,
Oh, wait, I was
the
gonna
first
say,
battle that they have because then it's in date
I'm saying
5.
I
like
just
after he runs away, right?
Yeah,
no.
because
There's another one though. Sorry to interrupt, Laz. Like they meet earlier when Rinku's
That's
been
what I was
killing all the
saying. When he's
generals.
running away on
Yeah,
the hill, like they meet up, like, and Shin's like, "Oh, we have to stop him," but like Rinko still gets away. But you're talking
yeah.
about like when the fighting
well,
actually
because
starts, right?
there's 3 confrontations. We have the first one where it was like when they first met up and stuff when Rinko was infiltrating. The
Yeah.
second time was the fight where Rinko lost his finger, like 2 of his fingers, and like the horse had a leg broken bone. And then on day
Oh, that was so
6,
sick.
and then day 6 is like the actual like the true like final battle between the two.
Yeah.
But like the first battle we
Like,
saw with the second battle technically where he lost like the fingers. I mean like as a feat of itself, I would honestly think that's such a great thing, like for Shin, because like he was able to manage to lay like a pretty decisive blow, losing like if you're losing your fingers
Yeah.
and you're a
He lost
swordsman,
his
you
sword,
kind of
dude.
need that. And like certainly like he uses 2 swords in style and
Unless you
fighting.
use your mouth.
but
I
I
mean,
think
pull his
the
Zoro.
but the
Zoro
fact that
inbound, yeah.
helped a lot. The fact that helped a lot that Uhon was there when he was fighting, that helped. Like, because the fact
Yeah.
is, like, Rinku is a beast. Like, he was fighting 2 guys that were fucking pretty strong at the same time, and it was like not like having too much trouble until Shin went Super Saiyan, of course.
That's
Yeah.
the thing. Like, that's just how strong Rinko was off skate. Like, even though like Ohun and Shin were attacking him simultaneously, literally he was still like damaging them. You know what I mean? Like, there was a part where like Ohun tries to like spear him, and they're coming from opposite sides, right? Like Ohun's in the front, Shin's in the back, and they attack simultaneously, and he literally like bends back, dodges, and cuts both of them. Like, what?
Yeah,
Like, what?
that was incredible, man.
Dexterity.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this dude's such a beast, dude.
Because
Like,
if you like, the thing is that foreshadows it as well. Like the first encounter Shin has with him, it's like Rinku just outclasses him. Like he knows Rinku can tell that Shin's a beast,
Yeah.
but he's just like even Rinku rates him compared to like all the generals he was killing earlier. He's like, this kid is a bit special essentially. Like this kid will be trouble later. So
Yeah.
it's kind of foreshadows that, and I thank God Uhan was there because I don't think until like what's it Shin gets to learn how to overcome his barriers essentially, because that's what makes him essentially chop off Rinku's fingers and break that horse's legs. That's like my favorite scene probably in the whole of Sanyou. Like that shit was crazy. That shit was
I have 2
fucking
scenes that
crazy.
might have rivaled it just like because of the moment itself, but we'll save until we get into it afterwards.
I know what
But
you're talking about.
I don't know, man, because like the minute I saw that shit, like I was so hype. I was like, oh my days! Like have you ever seen that
it's
before? Like a
crazy
guy
because
just
like
goes
I paid
that
attention to
hard.
the fingers right away, but I did not notice about the horse till I looked back afterwards. I'm like, oh shit, the horse actually broke a
Yeah.
bone. Like what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like that's crazy. Like
And it's insane. And then you see Uhan's face. Like Uhan is like, you can tell Uhan's like, holy shit! Is this
he's like
kid's
to me, it's just
I-
like I don't think he would have been
yeah.
able to pull that off, even with his spear, like just like slamming it down. Like I don't think like at that moment he had the strength that Shin would have to do
Yeah.
that to someone like Rinko. But yeah, that was
Yeah, 'cause
definitely a
the thing
crazy feature. Yeah.
It was because the thing I realized is because like I haven't obviously we haven't seen Uhan's part like earlier parts in the story, like what he's been doing since Shin's been like, because we've been following Shin the whole time. But it's just that
Yeah.
Shin's been meeting like quite a few, like he got like a little bit of tutelage from General Uki. He's seen Duke Q, like he's been around a bit. Like I haven't heard of what Uhan's been doing, but the fact is that kind of pushed him further than anyone else that we've
Yeah.
seen. Like it just pushed him like these guys have got this strong because they overcome their limits. And then this one, Shin went like this. It was just sick, man. It was just so
Oh,
sick.
dude,
And
I love the
definitely, yeah.
Air of the Heavens chapter thing. Like, how Rinko was
Yeah.
literally saying, like, and that was like the first time seeing, like, and he's not supernatural, but like, because Kingdom's so super realistic, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
Yeah.
something like manga-y, you know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
those, like just the air circling around him, where he's like, it might be
Yeah,
very faint,
exactly.
but like this kid literally could be a general, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Yeah, it's awesome, man. And like even like the fact that he even noticed like Rinku has this killing intent, so his air is like everyone gets
Yeah.
freaked out by him the minute they see him, so like kind of
Yeah.
stunned and stuff. But like Shin just he didn't fucking blink. He was just still fighting the guy, and then Rinku's like, oh shit, this kid. And then he sees the air, like the aura. So it's like one of those things when you see like a strong opponent meets another strong opponent, and you can just tell, you know.
Yeah. And I guess we can move on afterwards to like, when Renpa decides to go and try and infiltrate
Mobu?
Osen, like his the mountain and everything, right? And it's saying like, you know what, I'm just gonna hold up a fort afterwards and then we'll try and do something in the morning. So like going on to like this day 6, we get to see like what the Chin's headquarters were like. And like it was pretty impressive, like just seeing like the sculpture and like the landscape of it and just like how crazy like these things could definitely have like something in the future where we can see more like headquarters were based on like the mountains usage of like hills to, like their own advantage, especially seeing like how Osen like how he had his own kind of like side of the mountains and everything to work with. You can definitely think that like this is kind of like his style, like what we mean by like a defensive general, like this guy who like uses defense to win battles. You definitely think like high places are pretty much where he would want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like his usage was like really good. But then like going on afterwards, like if we go like a little bit more forward afterwards, like Renpa's gonna try and do his best trying to infiltrate, and then we go on afterwards to see the clash, which to me at that moment was probably one of the greatest duels I've ever seen in manga for a while until like later on. But this fight between Rinko and Shin, and before we even get to the fight itself, I think we should probably bring up the flashback with like Rinko and like how like he was like founded by Renpa, the whole story with his sister, like the village being like taken down, and like thinking that like his sister was still alive when she already became like a decomposed like corpse and like with maggots. And like to me it's like it just really spoke volumes about how dark a series can become without having to go like super like to left field and like go outside the box when this is stuff that could happen definitely in real life. Like the terrors of war itself, it's just like it's a crazy thing.
Like
I mean, like what were your thoughts on the backstory though?
It was kind of like it's like all these guys have like you can't really hate them in a weird way. Like I didn't hate Rinku at all. I was just like, dude, this guy's just an animal. He's a beast. He had a fucked up life. But it's like you're still rooting for Shin, obviously, because he's our main character and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's just like you like had respect from like in a weird way about Rinku, like overcame all those obstacles. Because like there's not a lot of those guys that generally do overcome those obstacles to become like great generals and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I basically already gave my 2 cents.
yeah.
Probably too early, I might add, but
but if there's anything you want to add in, I guess like maybe like could add into that fight, like like if you had to rank it from all the fights you've seen up until like this point, like right here at this fight, like would you say this is probably the best fights?
I think in context it was great because the fact that Kyokai had to like heal him the night before because he was so fucked up, like he was just like he couldn't move his arms and shit, like he was basically done in, and the fact that the way he won as well was realistic to me because I couldn't think like beat him even with the fingers, like it wouldn't realistically happen they could beat him one-on-one if no one interrupted. Like the one split second that guy jumped into the fight gave Shin just enough time to do what he needed to do, because there's no way he got that much stronger than Rinku like one night basically. So
yeah.
So
like I thought about the second fight or the first fight?
Oh, we're talking about
no,
the final battle,
the last fight,
sorry.
because that guy like jumps in right to like try to interrupt the fight, but Rinku deals with it.
Best battles I think I've seen so
Yeah,
far.
I love it. Like the way it was in the rain and the way it was like the way the manga panel was. It was sick. Like I literally have it as my background for my phone. Like it's so sick. Like
I mean, like
I just love it.
Like especially like when you saw Shin when he cut him down like the very first time, and he's like, there was an impact to my hit, and as everyone runs to him, and you see Wrinkle slashing away at like his leg. And like Shin like no, I'm not going down like this. And like this is where at that point my focus was on this fight. Like nothing else in the world can like stop me from reading this thing. Like I felt like I was Bihei in that moment where like I'm just seeing my captain going in and just like trying to fight this guy who is like one of the right-hand men to probably one of the most dangerous and like craziest generals we've probably ever seen in Renpa through Rinko. And just like that fight was just absolutely amazing. Just seeing him stand up. Like he stood up after that huge slash and just looked at him like it was nothing. He's spitting out the blood. He's like, I like my lord is waiting for me because I cannot lose here. I just like felt like I didn't want to see him go down, but I want to see Shin win. But at the same time, it's just like this guy was doing so much to kind of like make him like cared about, you know, even if he's on the opposing side. And that's something I really do appreciate from Kingdom. Like you'll have those characters, yeah, they're going for the bad guys or like the villains. And even then you can think of a character from like Wei or Zhao could technically be still good. And what Quinn's doing is pretty much bad. So I like you can have that different kind of psychology and like look at it from like both perspectives.
Yeah. That just gives you like you get attached to the characters. And then, I mean, even though you know that some of their ideals may not match up to the main character, you can still respect them for what they are doing, and you start to really care about them. Yeah. And by the time that you know they are eventually like dispatched, you know, the emotional impact just makes it a whole lot better because not only does the story progress from there, but you as the reader are like, well, shit, you know. I was with this character. He had very good characterization for a while, and while he may not be, you know, the main character, I still had a lot of, you know, strong feelings for this character as he, you know, made a really big impact on the manga. You know? So,
I mean, like especially like you know like the scenery with the rain and stuff coming down, and like the moment I'm going to be talking about here is like when like Shin was like saying like I knew of a person that wanted to grow up to be a greater general than even Renpa. And like when you look at like the rain coming down, you can tell there's probably tears coming down from his face, like saying this. When you think about Hugh, and just that one panel where it just shows Hugh like back him up, getting ready, I legit like that was like one of those moments in Kingdom, like it left me a little bit of tears coming down because it's just like you notice that this kid literally could have been where Shin is right now had the events had not happened. And it's just like what could have been, but the fact that he's still holding his part of that dream and he's the one that's carrying like you know that ambition to finally like. Because, like, to me, it's like when the day he ever becomes Great General of the Heavens, like, I don't give a shit. If I ever do a live reaction to it, I'm bringing down tears. Because that's something like you feel like you're one of those guys who waited for that moment. And it's just like you feel like Q, like, there's so much I would talk about in that moment, but, like, it was just absolutely beautiful. And then, like, going into the stuff like stuff like what he learned about like Oki and like all those guys that built him to be at that moment. He's like, yeah, you have your ambition because you want to be for Renpa, but I've met so many people who have made me who I am today, and this is just not like the end. This is just the very beginning of what I'm going to be later on.
Yeah, that's the thing that I was going to say too. I mean, to carry on to that, like Shin even stated, like, you know, by the time that PO died, he even said that this is not going to be my life, but this is going to be the life of ours. I will carry on, you know, what our dreams, you know, were. You know, I will always be by your side, so to speak. And I know for a fact by the end of the manga, we're going to see, you know, Shin declaring that, you know, that me and Piao did it, so to speak, you know?
Yeah. And it's just like, oh man, it's just especially him saying to him, like, my fights with you will become the fuel that will move me even forward to my dream. It's just like,
exactly,
like well said, but guess what? You're going to be the one to die here. It's just like the time for words were done. The clash went on. These guys just went in, gave each other like the fight of their lives. You can tell from Rinko, even like the injuries he sustained, like he met a worthy adversary just to give him like the beating of his life. And then the second slash coming in, and then he just like looking afterwards. So he's just like, the minute I saw him looking up and seeing Shin, that like little panel where he just knew, like Shin knew he had the fight, and then he goes, Shin, you will go even further, and he just stabs him, taking his life. And I'm just like you felt like everyone there, like you saw like the opposing side crying, you saw like Bihei and them all in shock, and then like the even crazier part is that he didn't let Rinko fall down to kill him. He's like, Rinko, you were an incredibly dangerous opponent that brought me to the brink of death numerous times. And it's just like when you remember, like you see him later on, like what he achieves, right? He'll always remember Rinko being the first guy to really give him like the fight of his life.
Yeah. Like
Side
I
So
note.
still
yeah, I thought
think
that was
like
absolutely beautiful.
I think it probably is my favorite fight. I don't know. I can't say like. I think
There's
my
like so
favorite
many,
Shin
but like,
fight
yeah,
definitely.
definitely, I would think so. From a very
I
like
don't know. Yeah.
from like an emotional standpoint, that's like one of the most gripping fights. Like I say, I'll say this and I don't care, but like this is probably one of my favorite fights like I've ever seen in manga from like an emotional standpoint. Like just like and
Yeah.
what it meant for like the character, like what we're gonna see like later on, just like the build up for like the later fights that we'd see later on. So
Yeah, no, like I like thought it was the best fight we ever got so far, even now in the series. Like,
yeah,
because like it was a full on battle. Like there were like all high risk, high reward behind everything. So I thought that was pretty cool.
yeah. And then
Um,
obviously like we go into the stuff with like Kyokai.
oh, dude, that
Yeah.
was. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie, guys. When I saw that, especially the front cover panel where we see Kyokai in Shin's arms, I think prior
Yeah.
to that,
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like,
yeah.
guys, I might drop the series. That's like how it's like.
Yeah,
I was
that
thinking,
was
like,
like
yeah.
it was.
honestly, I was getting
Oh.
worried because I was like, oh.
I remember when
bad.
people were telling me, "Don't look at the cover, skip it."
Yeah. And I was told that too. I went to look at like forums and like what to watch, like be careful of any covers. So luckily I didn't see it. So like the reaction that I got from it, I was just like, because like I always say, like any character could die, and the
Yeah.
minute we just see like this girl like facing up against like these monsters coming on like horseback, and I'm just thinking like Shin, like you see it like in his face, and like you can feel like if you were him in that moment, like Kyokai, like like please don't die. And then just seeing afterwards, like Kyokai, like with a smile. She smiled in the face of death. She could die right there, and she smiled going into that battle. And it's just like you could say like she's crazy, but it's just like it just gotta show that like no matter what kind of fear like she's going up against, like she's gonna go in with a smile. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And they
It
go
was-
her going in, cutting down those people, and then like especially the like before the whole lead up to the catch, when Shin goes past that guy, and then he's like that monster. That thing's not human. I'm just like, it's just like because like I know it's a bit off panel, but it's just like like to imagine like later on what we could get in an actual fight, just her going in. It's just like it's so
Yeah.
scary.
Oh
Man.
my
Like,
god. Like I won't lie, it's kind of like it felt like a troll. Like imagine seeing because after seeing Rinku just lose and then seeing that straight after would have been like just epic. Just seeing her just like destroy everybody, that would have been so sick. Because like she basically just like had to solo all of them essentially because
Oh, yeah.
most other guys couldn't
And she was
compare to.
wounded, dude. That's the best part.
You know that
Yeah,
moment when you're
that
like
was-
so bewildered in that moment?
yeah.
I was like, shut up,
Yeah.
shut up, no.
Yeah, because when I saw like her fall on her knees and like him catching her, I'm just like, please, for the love of God, this is just a sick joke. Like, there's no way you can kill her off. I mean, like to better the story and show that like no one's safe, I can understand. But like from what there's so much potential we could have got with her, and like thank God like she like survived like the events that she like went through. But like,
Yeah.
If
my
you
God.
guys look in the Google Hangout, like the second post, the second link I sent, like that's when I thought like that I might actually drop it because that's what got me worried. That's when the death flags came into me.
I think I'll probably be able to.
Oh
move.
yeah, like where is she? Like,
yeah, like
like-
when like you throw like little things like that, it's just like there's a chance she could probably go out here, and it's just
when
like
she lay says like I think I'll be able to move forward with everyone. That's when I was like, oh no, like probably dead. Like I was like, well, fuck
yeah.
us.
And then obviously
the
like the whole crew finds out like the reveal that she's a woman.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, that was awesome.
yeah, and I just
That-
love how
that's
like
how it's full,
some people were been like kind of like if you had to compare it to like Mulan, where like they weren't happy, they didn't want like a woman like serving in the army and stuff, right? So how to have like that as a secret kept like for the whole crew for like ever since like the very beginning, since they were like a 5-man crew, like to finally get that revelation, see how like Bihei and them were like she's still our precious comrade no matter what. It's just like it was really cool because you could have seen like probably like other armies that would have been like, nah, fuck this, like she shouldn't be here and anything like. But to see them kind of keep that morale and like kind of accept her for like who she is, right? Like, yeah, that was like really cool.
Yeah, I can see that.
And it was like, because they could have all been dicks about it, but then everyone's just like, dude, do you know how many times she saved your life? And they're like,
No,
oh,
for
yeah,
real.
good point.
At
Like,
first, it did seem like people were kind of like I think there were some of the new people thinking like
yeah,
like this
not
against
Behave, not
trolls.
those guys, but the new
Yeah,
ones.
they like honestly, I was waiting to see like Behave and all them kind of form like if you guys go tell them like we're actually gonna start killing people right now.
yeah.
Yeah, straight
I'm gonna
up.
tell you.
And it was kind of sad as
Yeah.
well the way like Shin explains about her backstory. Like she comes from
Yeah.
a place that's like the opposite of like what you guys are thinking. Like she like literally has had like no love. Essentially, she had to do some dark shit basically to like get this
Yeah.
strong. and not on purpose. Like not on purpose. Just her way of life was that way. It's just like wow, man.
By the way, when I said that before, there were like 2 panels that got me hyped. I'm just remembering now it's actually 4, and it's one that we just get into right after. But it's the one where, like, meanwhile, back at the headquarters, and we get Mogu screaming, "Hold the line!" and we just get this god-like double spread of Renpa just like destroying mad people. Like it's just fun. Like I said, like he's smiling, he's enjoying this shit, and he's probably like not even putting any effort whatsoever.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like seeing like Renpa obviously make it to the headquarters, and then obviously like, you know, the clash that he has after with Mogu. I mean, like at that moment, like because we saw like what happens to, like Rinko and them, because they lost someone on their side. Did you think at that moment they could have lost Mogu?
Mobu?
Mogu.
I don't think so, just because it's Mobu, bro.
Nah.
Like that's the only reason. Like there are certain characters that for the majority of the series they have plot armor. Like let's be honest.
Yeah.
Oh, Mogu or Mobu? Are you saying Mogu?
Mogu.
Mogu could have died, to be honest, man. I was like, shit, he could be. He's probably fucked. Like,
I believe.
Yeah. Because it's just like, you know, this above average guy winning all his fights and stuff, and then you're going against a guy who's like, you know, I would say like if anything from the characters we've seen up until this point, he's probably the strongest character. You know, and then eventually if we were to see like later on like other characters who can kind of like match up to that, like Renpa would still be the top of like the list.
it's stronger than Hoken?
I personally believe so. I think Renpa is stronger than him.
Ooh,
Even
I
even
think-
in
Oh,
his,
no, I agree 100%.
even in his old age,
Renpa stronger than Mogu?
Yeah,
I-
no Hoken.
Then Hoken, yeah.
Oh,
And
Hoken?
I'll save my thoughts on that because this is stuff like we probably have to know like the later on stuff.
Okay.
That's why I kind of want to support
Yeah,
that. But with Renpa though, like I mean, yeah, the guy is a monster, and I still will hold on to that
No, I agree with you 100% on that.
The thing that
because I
was,
think because it's like
is
it
how
goes
much
back
of
to
a
like what we know
strategist he
of
is.
him.
Like, I knew
Yeah,
he
'cause,
was
like,
a
he can change
beast
it
at
up.
fighting, but
Yeah. Like he can change it up pretty much. Like he can go from tactical, he can use instincts, like he can just switch it up any way, and like no one will be able to like, you know, catch him like enough where they can kind of go toe to toe with them. Like he'll have him on the ropes the entire time.
The whole
Yeah,
the whole
like
thing with Hoken is that he's
like,
been
yeah.
he's
Sorry, you go.
he's the big fish in a small pond. Hoken's like he's strong, but compared to like the people that he's seemingly fought so far, right? They're all weaklings. Like besides obviously Oki, and so like the fact is like Oki would have like wrecked him. Like let's be honest, if
Yeah.
the fight continued with no like interference, Oki would have raped fucking Hoken. And so like
Yeah,
I feel like
that's,
Renpa was roughly equal to Oki. I think Oki was over him still. But
You guys have swayed me a bit, but I don't know. I just think Hoken gets stronger and stronger after each
Just come to
time,
the
though.
dark
Like,
side, Nikki. God.
yeah.
Yeah.
like,
But
I think
I'll
that-
save my Renpa hype for later on because I really don't want
I'll
to
say-
accident spoil stuff. But
No, yeah, I know. I
Yeah,
know.
I'll
what
say
he's
they're on
about,
par.
Like Nikki should know, but Nikki's slacking.
yeah.
Damn.
I think I know you're talking about.
If
Do
you
you
knew,
know
then you would
Nikki?
agree with us.
Yeah, come on, Nikki.
But
Yeah,
the
but-
thing that was awesome as well, like I just want to point out the fact that Renpa, like Mogu, like changed his tactics to suit. Like he literally planned for like how long, for how long, like what, like that, like because the
Yeah.
last time he's always losing to him essentially. So he had this plan, and Renpa made it shit. Like it was a great plan. Like every time I was like in suspense, I like he's gonna get Renpa. No, he's not. He's about to get Renpa. No, he's not. He's almost got Renpa. No, he's not. Then I just gave up. I was like, he's not gonna get Renpa. By the time, yeah. So it was actually great seeing that part of the fighting as well, because just seeing how difficult it would be for anyone else except for Renpa to get up that mountain was pretty sick.
Yeah, no, like the fact that like that was an entire maze, like a death trap maze, and like if you made one wrong move, you would die. Like basically,
Exactly.
it was like 9 out of 10 paths on that maze was death, and then that one path was only there, like you know, for Renpa because A, he knew Mogu, and B is because like his instinct level was
It's
like
not
so
even. It's like more than 9 out of 10 though, because they were even changing the path along the
As they
way.
go,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? Like they did have that one secure path where, like, all right, if you go here, you can make it. But then they changed it, and they're like, oh, well, now you're fucked.
Yeah.
And the thing is, because it was like because of like height advantage, Renpa didn't have the ability to say, all right, like I see them changing everything, like I can calculate what's going on. It was instinct. He just had to know. You know what I mean? For example, like when he let that like the cavalry that were carrying his flags literally run into a trap, you know, just because, and they're like, oh, we're gonna kill Renpa, and then all of a sudden his soldiers were behind them. Like
Yeah.
what? Like
Mhm.
that's crazy. Like, and it's
I was
not
just
something
like,
that you can just like because they were switching, it's not something that you can just say like, oh, this is all strategy. I knew you were gonna switch the post to this.
It's
And
instinct.
exactly, that's what I'm trying to say. Like,
Yeah.
killer instinct, bro. Like,
Yeah, and I mean, like we can go into like the stuff with like Mogu losing an arm, like that
That
to
was
me,
pretty
like when
sick,
he lost the
yeah.
arm, like that's like the step before death. I'm just like, to me, like there's no way Renpa was gonna let that chance slide by. But obviously, we see like Moten and a couple people try to come after him. He takes them out easily, and then we
But-
see Shin afterwards. Like he kind of tells Renpa after, like I took out Rinko. And he throws the sword. Like he throws the sword. He's like, yeah, I took him out. And then just seeing Renpa like in rage, because then we get the little thing. It's like, oh, you still playing around with those swords? And he's like, yeah, I mean, I gotta take care of them. They're the ones you gave me after all. And it's just like, dude, that's like to me, it reminds me of Whitebeard. And I won't say too much into it, but like, it's like Whitebeard just went to go and teach Luffy a lesson, and this guy just hit him with the smackdown. And I'm just like, yo, how he didn't die? It's just like, that's crazy. Because like you saw like that panel where he's just like this big fucking dude, and there's like little ants and Shin just getting like hit afterwards, and he blocked it.
No, yeah, I
Yeah,
loved it. 'Cause,
that
like,
was crazy.
the whole point of that for fucking Shin was like, I'm gonna test out where the difference lies. Like, how stronger are these generals compared to me? And
Yeah.
the way he gets demolished.
Yeah, and it's just like it's so crazy. And then seeing Shin blocking, and like he still wanted to keep going after that point, which I thought
Yeah.
that was crazy. Because like if you take a hit like that, and like like the wounds that he sustained, like all opened up just from that one strike, it's just like, bro,
That was
like
crazy.
I'll go to the infirmary right now. We'll chill. Give me a couple of years. Let me
Yeah.
put some weight on, and then like some like actual armor, no plot armor, and then we'll like try and fight it out. But even then, it's just like, dude, Renpa's too much.
Before you even get to that part where Mogu was fighting Renpa, there was a little part of me that was getting a bit hyped for Mogu. I was like,
Oh,
damn,
yeah.
Mogu
dude, I was
ain't
kinda
bad. Like,
Yeah.
dude, when he pushed him back on that first,
I was like, yeah.
and he like, because Renpa was like didn't have that much physical strength. Like Mogu literally was overpowering him. It's just that like, in terms of like technique, he was losing in technique clearly, but in terms of power, he's
Yeah.
like, yo, if I get that one hit on you, Renpa, like you might die.
Yeah, it was literally all
was
that shit
sick.
was literally from Shin's words, which is the best.
Exactly, dude.
Like, with like that was the friendship power for Mobu or Mobu.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean,
Yeah.
It was pretty sick, and then like Renpa brings him back to like reality. It's like, nah, you ain't. You're sick, but you're not that sick. Like, calm down.
and then like just to get like, the
it's
end of
me,
it all,
like, come
man,
on,
like,
you've lost every other time. Let's stop playing games.
yeah. And then just like the only thing that kind of saved them from like Renpa like cleaning house, like because I honestly thought, hadn't Konki not like taken down the headquarters and do the shit that he was doing afterwards, I'm pretty sure Renpa wouldn't care and just like keep on slaughtering the fuck out of everyone just like by himself.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like
I don't know,
everyone there
because I
would've
think-
probably
no,
died. Let's be honest.
Nah, I don't know, because the one guy that everyone's forgetting to mention, Usen. Usen
But
is an
he was
animal.
way
Like
out there,
he was
though.
being a dick. In fact, he was being a dick, but none of his army got hurt, and even like Renpa clocked, he was just like, "Oh shit!" Like none of this. There's a full army just not injured,
Well,
just chilling,
that-
ready to
That was, the
fight.
whole, that was the whole point, though. Is like Osen was holding off Kyoen just by being there. Like, because
Yeah.
if Kyoen left, Osen would come behind him. And it's
Yeah.
kind of like he was just creeping on him. And then the whole point with like Konki burning the flag right across like the entire like whatever you want to call it, the map or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Was that he couldn't do anything. Like he knew that now he lost his base. So the only real forces he had of command of right at that moment was the people he had with him, which was literally like 0 people. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
So if he
Yeah.
wanted to keep fighting, he had to fight Mogu with one arm, and then like Moten, and then Shin, which obviously they weren't like anything, but like they were still enough to like kind of fuck with like Renpa. But like Renpa, I think would have killed everyone there. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah, he would have
Like,
killed.
he
Yeah,
would've
yeah, on the
crazy.
mountain, definitely. Yeah. That was like.
And I mean, like, just to see afterwards, like, that guy Kaishibo who was trying to like attack Mogu afterwards, like Renpa, like, pretty much like saying, no, we lost, we have to take this. Like, like there's no like point of like attacking because if anything, knowing the personality of Konki, right? Because I'm pretty sure like after conquering the base, knowing him, he probably would have gone like even further and try like take more parts of Wei afterwards. Like,
Sure, yeah.
like knowing his personality, he probably could do something like that. But to see Renpa actually like admitting a loss, knowing how powerful he is, but to see like to have that side. And I also want to mention too, like the speech that he gave off about like the 6th grade generals like being like his friends on the battlefield, and he's like that little panel, and I love it too, where he's looking up and he's like, you know, like what, you know, I need to like see you guys one day. Like, you know, he's looking up. He's like, you know, why am I still here? You know, when all of you guys like moved on already. Like, I thought that was pretty crazy. But yeah, I mean,
exactly, man. Because like he's like one of those guys like the old really like great athletes, but all the other of them have passed into legend, and they're just waiting to die essentially to pass into legend as well. So
yeah,
it was quite sad and cool at the same time. Like, damn, man, there's kind of some weird brotherhood between these enemy armies and stuff.
yeah.
So.
The actual quote goes, "Every last one of you bastards just keep selfishly going on ahead of me." And like, I love how, because like the rain's coming down, so it's like blocking away like the tears that he potentially would show off. But like, I thought that was like really cool, like poetic.
And the most important thing is the speech he gives to Shin. Let's not forget about that. Renpa gives to Shin.
Yep.
The only way you can surpass Oki is to do something that even the 6 generals couldn't do. That really highlighted how far Shin's got to go now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna become a great general of the heavens and everything's gonna be cool. But then Renpa's like, nah, you still wouldn't surpass us. Like you need to, change your job, change your occupation. You gotta do something else, man. If that's all you want to do, like.
I mean, like I was gonna say too in the comments real quickly, but Black Steel Toe Tom was saying like, how do we forget about our guy Heki? Because he had like 2,000 men like trying to charge like the headquarters. But I'm thinking like the battle's already taken care of. Like, he just going in there just to get like a little bit more. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's like
I can't lie. Like, I feel sorry for Heki because Usen, Kaneki, and like what Mogu was doing, even what Shin was doing, kind of furtherized his impact on the war. Like, no one's really like, he's doing shit, but like Osen was like using him and shit, and it was just like, oh, whatever, man. Like, Heki's just doing this thing on us, like, he's just doing this thing, not really making too much of an impact, but trying his best, like, you know,
getting used.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
so that was so funny though. I felt bad for him. I was like, damn, man, like, you can't be doing this to Heki like this. Not Heki.
Yeah. I mean, Heki's hype, man. Like, you know,
he's
just a dude.
Where Heki goes super
I generally
crazy
like
and saves Shin.
Oh, I can't wait for that, man. Like, Heki, like, I feel like people sleep on him a lot, and I'll probably like dive more into that when we get into like the later arcs, because especially like later on, like, people really sleep on this dude. But like, I mean, we pretty much covered most of the Sanyou arc, and we can kind of go into like the aftermath, where like, you know, Shin, after like that 3rd campaign, he officially becomes like a 1,000-man commander, because the role he had previously was a temporary thing for him, and he was then like subjugated to take care of like Sanyou, right? Like an area around it. And then we end up getting, you know, Sosui ends up joining his crew officially, coming from Kakubi. We see that, you know, Lieutenant Kyokai, her absence, because, you know, the revenge mission, you know, which pretty hyped to, you know, see everyone's thoughts on that when we dive into it later on.
Oh yeah, before we get there, I just want to mention one thing. I hope I'm not wrong when I'm saying this. Is this Usen in this arc tried to recruit the Arrow guy, right?
Yes.
With one of the 10
Like,
that's what really freaked me out. That's when I knew this guy was so dangerous. Like, even Kaneki's crazy, but Usen is just like, he's got ambitions. Like, he's got some next ambitions to like create some like tough squad, essentially, like the toughest squad ever. So that was quite interesting from this arc to see like Usen is not like Kaneki's like the crazy kind of pirate guy who just think outside the box, but he just does what he does. But Usen's like, nah, man, I got plans.
He's doing his own like thing. He's trying to get his own goal.
Yeah. And that kind of creeped me out. I was like, this guy might is like, that's why I think he's more dangerous than Kaneki in a way. He just has like
to the kingdom for sure.
I think in general, just the way he thinks is weird. Like, Kaneki's just like super like out of the box and stuff, but Usen's just like, he just sees everything as an opportunity to do something that's really weird. Like, it kind of puts me off. I was like, damn, this guy's crazy, but I like him, but he's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, like, and then obviously, like, we go into like the Sanyou aftermath. Like, you know, when we find out, like, you know, after Kyokai left, they don't really have like a direction afterwards, and like just in the lead up to, you know, Moki was supposed to be there, but obviously, you know, Kario 10 with a big surprise, her return and coming back and taking over the strategist. But before we get to that, like, I wanted to say like the stuff about Shin being like the strategist with and I just couldn't help but laugh so hard. Like, when Molten went to go meet him to like hear the rumors of like, wait, why are there so many people from the Hishin unit dying? And then he goes and explains that battle plan, and I just could not stop laughing. Like, I'll pretty much gonna say, but like he's like I said, if we move forward like this other side's got to move like that, and then I bring 200 here, and we move forward, then 500 here. He's like, so you know what I mean? And Molson just puts his face, just like dying. He's just like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, what the hell are you doing, bro? Like, come on, get yourself a real strategist.
He literally said he could beat out the High Shin unit with 300 of his own men. Beat
And
out
then
a High Shin
and it's just like,
1,000-man unit.
and he's like,
bro, you don't know what you're doing.
And he's like, did you really go to strategy with this today? He's like, yeah.
He's like,
and then he just pauses. He pauses, legit, looks at it. And he's like, I'm surprised you all weren't wiped out. And he's like, yeah, see, I told you the battle plan worked.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, that's not the point. But I was like, okay, you survived, like, good, but like, you lost bare people. Oh,
Yeah,
man,
that
was
was-
fucked. It's like it
that was
shows you
fu-
like even if you're
Yeah.
super OP yourself, like in combat, like if you don't have strategy, bro, like you're getting wiped out, you're done.
Yeah, and then it's just like seeing after like when Moten, like this is the first times we see him actually being like legit serious, and he's like, "Oi, take it seriously." And then like you see that little bubble, it's like, "But I am taking it seriously." But like you can tell from Moten, like for like little things like this in the story, like you can't screw up like this. Like that's why it's super important to have someone to kind of like be the strategist, so you can take care of like the actual fighting itself.
Yeah. How'd you guys
that
feel then
was-
about like him? Oh, sorry. Are you serious?
I was gonna. Okay, yeah, I was gonna say just it also showed like the impact of Kyokai. Like everyone was just like, shit. Since she left, we fucking suck. Like everyone just like that.
It's like
That made me laugh.
it's like if you look at
That
like
was so funny. Yeah.
it's like if you look at the Cleveland Cavaliers, right? And you take away like LeBron James and stuff, right? Like that team's pretty garbage. You know, I mean, like you have still some great units and stuff, but at the same time, like when you're missing like the main person, well, like technically at the time, like Kyokai at that moment was still like a tad bit stronger than Shin, I would say. You know,
Yeah.
going into Sanyou. So like,
Yeah, I would
yeah,
say.
defense, like I
Or
would say like
even-
to me, it's like a Shin was like Kyrie Irving in a sense, where like you know LeBron James, the one that was getting shit done though, was
Nah,
Kyokai.
Shin's better than
And
Kyrie
Heki,
Irving.
and Heki in a sense was Kevin Love. So
Oh no, come on now. Like that's too much. There's too like you got it the wrong way. Like I don't know, because Shin's better than Kyrie Irving, and Heki's not as good as Kevin Love. Actually, wait, he's exactly Kevin Love. That's perfect. Actually,
see, that's what I meant, bro. Like,
yeah,
oh, man. But then afterwards,
that
of
was-
course,
that
we
was-
got like.
yeah.
I was gonna say because of course we gets like Kario 10 afterwards coming in for not Moki as a strategist. I mean like everyone knew it was a woman, but I was like super surprised. Like Shin was so like so much of an idiot. He didn't even realize it was a girl, and he actually just goes in.
Guys, he pulled a Trump. Right there.
Yeah, then
Oh,
you grab him. You know, like, yeah.
He's got to grab him, you know?
Yeah.
or he pulled Meliodas, Seven Deadly Sin reference right there.
Yeah. So when you look at originality, I mean, like Shin kind of brought that forward, and then like everyone kind of just did the Shin.
Like, dude, like you're that
Yeah, true.
idiot. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, like, but it was cool though seeing like Kario 10 coming back into the fray of things and
Yeah.
seeing like how much she learned under the helm of like Shoei-kun and like all the other guys over at the academy. I mean, like you can tell like after all that time, like she was going to be like a big vital role to the Hishin units, including the fact that like Kyokai was gonna be gone for quite some time. So like just having her back, like it really did help them like a lot. So they were losing so many casualties, and at the same time playing it very smart, just like from a battle tactic standpoint.
Yeah, I agree because originally I thought that Kario 10 wasn't going to get enough screen time and there wasn't going to be much characterization for her. But then the author was like, yep, she's going to be a strategist. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is interesting. Let's go.
Yeah. And then obviously, of course, like since we're getting into it, like we should get into the stuff of like Yan and Zhao, because like we get the little meeting and stuff, like they're planning to take down the people of Yan or whatever, right? And then like we get the renaming of the city, right? That ends up becoming Togun. So this is a place that they're gonna have to take care of afterwards, right? For the Quinn. And I just love that little meeting that Zhao has because like they're preparing to take on like the state of Yan, and Riboku immediately says like I think it's about time we go wake him up. And this, like, I always talk about panels that are like one of my favorite, but this is top 3. Just Hulking inside that forest after killing a tiger with like his bare hands, steam rolling out like he's like in Kaioken or like Gear Second. Like he's just like on some next level stuff. Like, and then just getting like the panel afterwards, like the next chapter where he just shows him like looking at those like trees and has like Oki's face on it, and he's just like cutting down like the forest itself. I'm just like, this guy like solos the verse, man. Like he's just too much. Like,
That's how
see,
sick
I
Oki was. Like, gave him nightmares.
but like,
No, but for real though.
and then again, like, Keisha coming in after the introduction of one of the vassals to Riboku, coming to bring Renpa to the front line, not Renpa, freaking Hoken to the front lines to get ready for battle against Geki Shin and Yan. And I think like the stuff with Yan I'll kind of hold back on because like, for more information later in the series. But like obviously they're kind of considered like the mystery state where like we don't even know like the military might. We don't know like anything about like, battle tactics. Like they're just kind of like, what can I say? Like they're kind of like, like they're like a wild card simply just because like we don't know anything about these guys and like what can they pull off on the battlefield. But I want to know your guys' thoughts pretty much on that short battle because it kind of was a short battle between Zhao and Yan, especially with like Hoken like taking down Gekishin after like how much that guy was built up as a great general.
Bro,
It's cool
honestly, oh, do you want to go?
Yeah, I'll say this small. Like, it was just cool to see like how like OP Zao was, like with Riboku leading them and shit like that, and like how they kind of steamrolled everyone.
Yeah,
Honestly,
like I mean, like,
I thought the battle between Gekishin and Hoken would go a little differently. Like, just because, for example, they were hyping up like, oh, the god of war, right? And then he said like how he like was slaying Bushins and stuff before. Like I figured it would be different in the fact that like Hoken's probably stronger. So I thought like, okay, he's probably gonna reach Hoken, start fighting him, and not like cut him down right away and be like, okay, this guy's different. But like I didn't, bro. The fact that literally he got like fodderized, bro. Like that was the crazy part. It just seemed like because like no matter how you put it, like I don't know, like seeing Hoken like even like when he was fighting Oki. Like, I don't think, like, Oki would just run up and, like, fodderize this dude. You know what I mean? Like, that's just, like, from the build-up. I didn't see it that way. And it just seemed like, Hoken's been going so super sick, like, back on the path. Because, like, when he was fighting Oki, right? Like, they explained how, like, he was, like, kind of, like, not at his best. Because, like, as a path seeker, like, he kind of, like, strayed away from the path. Because, like, Oki was, like, all he started thinking about instead of, like, martial combat. But then once Oki was gone, it's like back to like just straight up training. Like I'm a beast, like, bro. It's just the fact that like, yeah.
Laz, did you say the panel when he wakes up Hoken or the one when he kills the general? Because the general killing one's pretty good as well.
I mean, like the general one, that was really cool. But I felt like to me, like just the reintroduction of like Hoken, like from like Riboku saying like, no, I already know who I'm gonna pick, and he's like, oh, I guess we go wake that guy up, and like just seeing like the panel, like it was really an amazing panel. But the one taking down Gekishin, like it just goes to show like Hoken was already a monster, but like to take down like the great
he
general,
got stronger, bro. That's how it's
because it's like that's the thing with Hoken. I feel like after time he's just gonna keep on getting stronger and stronger. But like I would say just from what I know personally, and like of course up to this point right now in the story, like from where we're at right now, I definitely think that Renpa would still probably be able to take on like Hoken. But obviously you got to factor in if Hoken continues getting stronger as time progresses, it could definitely change.
That's what I'm saying. The only thing is for. Because he fodderized this guy, like he literally one-shot this guy. Like for example, when Geki, like because he was so hyped up, I thought they were gonna clash a little bit, and like it was gonna be semi-even, right? Like somewhat more of a fight, like when Oki fought Hoken. But when Hoken struck him first, right, and then seeing that he caught the blade, like I still thought, okay, like this guy even caught Hoken's first initial attack that should have probably killed him, right? This guy's a monster for blocking it, right? And I thought like, okay, he's probably gonna like deflect it or something, and the battle's gonna continue. Nope, literally, Hoken just rips right through the guy. Like that was crazy.
And then you hear afterwards, like he took out, like I could be wrong on the number, but it was either 2,000 or 20,000 like prisoners of Yan were taken afterwards.
Oh yeah, because dude, it was the thing was that whole battle happened in literally a day. Like it was only after a day and a half, and the war was concluded. That's when I was like, yo, Riboku's literally a beast, dude.
Yeah, like
and it's funny because like Hoken is under Riboku, which again, like,
no, he is. That's the thing. Like they might have the same title, but like Riboku's the one coming up with the strategies, leading the whole army.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, one thing I didn't personally like about it too much was the fact that just because of like what the titles really should mean, like the whole Great General of the Heavens thing, it's kind of like you guys had to send out 2 to deal with
it should only be 1. Especially
that's what I was thinking.
Like
Hoken or Riboku alone. But that's the thing, like Riboku doesn't even care. Like he probably knew, like, okay, I could beat this guy by myself, right? But it's gonna take up too much, like, because he's thinking like later, like coalition stuff. he's thinking ahead like, why would I waste my time and effort when we could literally just demolish this guy if we get Hoken? You know, like
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it's just like this dude doesn't even care. It's like once he has a goal, like he's gonna take like the best and most efficient route. You know,
Yeah.
no
Definitely.
chances,
There's
no nothing.
pride.
Like
Like Roboga doesn't have pride. Like
yeah,
in the sense that, like,
exactly.
he doesn't. He's not like, oh well, like, you know, I should have to 1v1 him. He'd be like, no, like, you know, if it takes two of us, like, we'll just do it. 'Cause we'll kill him.
Exactly. Because someone, who's a good pride person? Someone, let's say like Dukio, right?
Mobu
Like-
would be
Yeah.
a perfect example. Like he would never.
Yeah,
do that.
oh, Mobu,
would
exactly.
never fight 2-on-1 ever. I feel like ever.
Exactly. Because he's like,
Yeah.
bro, like if I can't beat you as like the strongest man of China, like a soldier of Quinn, like then I
Yeah.
can't beat you. You know, but like Roboku would be like, I can't beat you, so like army, kill
Come
him.
in now, Army. Come
You
on.
know, yo, he would be like a Blackbeard, bro. When
He
Blackbeard was
definitely
a
would,
white
yeah.
beard. And he was literally like, all right, guys, like I'm not winning, so kill him.
Oh, yeah, that's why it's so cool. Is because like Roboku is such a strategic.
Yeah, dude, he doesn't even care,
That's
bro. That's the
bro,
best
we
part.
haven't even seen him fight.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And
And
so
he's
when
gonna
we
be a
see him
monster when he
fight,
fights
bro,
too. Yeah.
Yeah, when we see him fight someone, like it's over. Like the hype train is gonna be rolling in fast.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I was gonna say too before we move on to like the stuff with like back at the at Kanyu and stuff, but like going into like the Chu army, you know, the camping spot at the borders, where like the Hishin unit ends up like meeting. Well, basically, I would say like the rivals for the
Yeah.
future, and
That was funny.
Kuyoku, who I won't talk about here. We'll talk about eventually for the coalition arc. But just off like as a first impressions, like from everyone here, like what did you think of the guy? Because like for myself, like when we got that, like seeing him, like, you know, he was just like getting the drum out and he's just like, yo, you pussies and shit. Like he can't do nothing. He's like flipping him off and stuff. And then leading up to like Shin, just like literally jumping from his position to try and like one shot this guy. And clearly that
After
wasn't the
he said-
case. Like
After he said he wouldn't do
Wait,
it.
who? Which person?
It's one of
Kuyoku.
the guys. It's the guy with the sword that's from Chu. It's
Yeah.
one of the top
Oh.
two people. The younger guy.
One of the
Yeah, the young
1,000
guys from
commanders.
from their generation, pretty much.
His name is Kuyoku.
Kuyoku, yeah, and then like with Hakurei, Renbun-kun, like those guys.
No, I thought that was fine.
I
'cause,
liked it, dude.
I like to see
Yeah.
people around Shin's age because you kind of know that they're going to develop alongside Shin.
Exactly.
Definitely. And it's like you go back to like the whole thing with Renpa, like, you know how he had like the 6th grade generals who like I consider as his friends in a sense. So like to me, it's like with Shin, it's like obviously he won't consider the same thing, but he'll definitely see them as like rivals and people that like if I'm going to compete for this level, guess what? Other people in other states probably have the same aspirations, and I got to be the best of the best, which is the great general of the heavens.
Mhm.
I
So,
thought that's cool. Like I like to see new characters that are younger because you know they're going to be in the story for a long time. And then
Yeah.
eventually, like, obviously, when we start time skipping, hopefully, when Shin's like, you know, like 30 years old or whatever, way later, like it'll be
Yeah.
cool to see these characters alongside him.
Yeah.
Especially because I think personally, I think they're eventually not going to get killed. I think they're kind of going to like,
Just keep
I don't
going.
want to say become good, but like they're going to be like rivals, but not like hate rivals. Like they're not going to come out to kill Shin.
Kind of like the Oki
Yeah,
Renpa.
Renpa.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I like the fact that he was just straight up running up on him, calling them pussies, bro.
Yeah.
Bro, he was
Definitely.
antagonizing them so much. Cause like this is
I
one
love
of
it,
the things.
man. Like
Like
if
for
it was-
example, in Chu, like if we were to like, for example, like how in Quinn, right? We have Shin, we have Ohen, and we have Moten. Like they have their little group of people, and like I'd more like parallel him and compare him to Shin, right? Like in terms of like their fighting style, like what they do, and like their attitude. Like this guy's such a dick, and he's like, "Yo, I'm the best," right? And it was literally but like the thing that like put him over Shin for me was the fact that like he has that mind for strategy. You know what I mean? He's like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna go fuck with him a little bit. I'll be right back." You know,
like his whole thing, I feel like was like if they shoot an arrow at me, it's all at war. But like you know, it's in our favor. Like we say we
Yeah,
did for the first
exactly.
punch.
yeah.
And he's like, you know, Shin dies. Like you know, whatever. Like they
exactly,
started
yeah.
it.
Like we just take wins, and then you know whatever.
Yeah.
'Cause the whole thing was the Quinn were trying to defend right then, so he's like, "Yo, if I can get them to come out, oh, this is gonna be a wrap." You know what I mean? Because they were in their little fortress, and he's like, "Yeah, like you want to come out here and fight?" me?"
Dan. It's
What?
like remember the French in the Monty Python movie, the Holy Grail, the French guy. Like,
Yeah,
he's
With
like,
the knife, the
"Citizen
Canadian
of
part.
Englishman."
Yeah, yeah,
Dude, but no, like, yeah, he was an amazing character because like,
No, yeah,
like,
I
just
really
how trolly he was, bro, was the best.
exactly. It's just that that air of confidence that he had.
Yeah.
Like literally, he said, "I'm gonna go provoke the entire enemy army just with my one unit. I'll be right back." Just the fact that he was like, yo, like, they're not going to kill me. Like, me die today? I don't think so. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not a... Like, I don't know. It's just super cool.
And we get introduced to one of the 10 bows of China as well.
Yo,
Yeah, Hakurei. We actually get a position.
Talking about.
For a while, we were getting
Like-
like, you know, oh, I'm this guy, I'm part of this and stuff, but we actually get like a rank, and he's a number 3. So for like such a young guy to have like a position like that high up, like, he's top 3 in China. Like, this isn't someone you're supposed to be like, you know, trying to mess around with, because like he could probably destroy you within an instant just off the name alone.
This is one of the arcs that completely fucked me over because there's so many names in this arc. I'm like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It's just like, oh,
It's
that guy,
crazy
or the
'cause,
other
like-
guy that you're talking. You know.
yeah. Like,
And I like the way they just like foreshadowed they're all gonna, like, I know you guys mentioned a bit, but they foreshadowed they're all gonna fight each other. Like, for example, Shin couldn't kill that guy couldn't kill Shin, and the Tenbo couldn't kill Shin either. So they're all kind of on an even playing field, so you just know they're gonna be like, it's quite cool.
Honestly, dude, I think that person that the third bow, like the person on the 10 bows of China, way stronger, bro.
I think so. I really do.
Way stronger. Like, literally, you can send like if it was an open field, Ohun, Shin, and Moten like by themselves charging, I think they die. To be completely honest, bro.
yeah.
Like, it's just like that guy. Like,
no way.
It's just think about it, Nikki. Like, for what that title's supposed to be, like, archers. Like, I'm trying to think of a good way to put it, bro. Like, for example, normally like archers are in the back and they're just sniping, right? Like that. I don't want to go into it too much because that's the next arc, so it's for the next video. I don't want to talk about it too much.
Yeah.
But it's just
like,
what they should be able to do. Like, he would have the advantage over them because, like, if you're riding up to him in a distance and like for his accuracy, the power he could like get from the bow, if he hits you and you can't deflect it, you're gonna be hit. Like, you're hit.
And he's number 3, bro. And
That's what I'm saying. Like, I would say, for example, like even the 10th would be like literally like super hype. You know what I mean? Like saying like, oh, I'm one of the 10 bows of China.
How many people have bows? Like, think about it. Like, well, like probably over 100,000. Like, you know, overall.
And this
so
guy's
if
one
you
of the best one in all of China.
bro. Yeah,
But
like,
just the fact that they're all around the same age and the fact that they became 1,000.
That's what I'm trying to say.
1,000 men commanders. I think like
how long did it take
it's
them
hard.
to go to that? Where, like, this guy's
thing
probably been
is,
there.
For the title of 10 bows of China, it's not about your age. It's not about how physically strong you are. It's not about your rank. It's about your proficiency with the bow and arrow. You know what I mean? Like, the way I see him, I see that person being able to like shoot an arrow, right? Like, and then shoot another arrow and pierce through the first one that they shot, and shoot another arrow and pierce through those. Like, dead on accuracy every time.
Like, you're caught up.
Do
You
not
should know
miss.
later, like, how OP these people are.
Yeah,
Bro.
I know. I know you.
If you want a One Piece reference, I'll just Usopp.
Nah, I was waiting for that. I was like, yes, up, bro.
We're not getting into this right now. Fuck
Yeah,
that.
we are, bro. I'm kidding, I'm kidding, I'm
Get into it every day. We'll save it for after the stream, Nikki.
Yeah. But no, like, for
I
real,
gotta
bro,
go
like,
bed.
How do you not? Like, this is how I see it, bro. Like, Nikki, like when we're getting titles like that, like the 10 bows of China, the way I saw it is like, for example, like, you know how Mobu's like, I'm the strongest man in all of China. You know what I mean? And like, he's like the rank of like a great general, right? But it's just like, I see like the 10, like for example, like if you're like the 10 bows, I see them being like in terms of like strength wise, like around like general level. You know what I mean? Like, if that's the way to put it, like they would be able to compete.
Because do you mean general or do you mean like Oki general Renpa level?
No, not like I'm saying just general. It's like,
Oh, okay.
but that's what, like, this is what I'm
when
saying.
we found
Like,
out, like,
he'd be
about
as
who,
strong
like,
as a
great
general.
of the heavens.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he'd be somewhere as strong as a general, right? Like, base, like that has to be at least a bare minimum. And he's only 1,000-man commander. Like, the rank doesn't mean anything for this character. You know what I mean? Like, rank is just how many people we're gonna like give to you. But like, in terms of you as a person, like, you are one of our strongest assets on the battlefield. You know?
Definitely. I mean, like, we can kind of like we can kind of get into stuff with like Seku really quick because I think we're almost done. But like Seku's like return back into the story, like when they had to go and get that guy And as they go down to like this little cellar and like opening up those doors, and you see like the steam, the smoke coming out,
Yeah.
and you seeing this fucking sly guy just chilling on the bed. I'm just like, oh my god, he's back.
Dude,
He's
I was
serious.
super surprised they didn't just like kill him off.
Same. I'm not gonna lie, same. Because like
Like when I
what
first,
Yeah, after all that this guy's done, like how he came back is
Exactly.
like it's crazy.
like
Yeah.
I get it for like, for example, they might say, for example, like how they used him and like why he got brought back, like in terms of like importance, like connections, he is very useful. But from the first arc, like in the actual rebellion arc, like he should have been such a problem that like, yo, this guy can't live. You know what I mean? Like kill him now before like another uprising occurs.
Definitely, yeah.
That's how I thought I would have thought. Like literally after
Yeah,
the thing
that's
ended,
true.
like I really thought he was dead. Like if someone said Sekio's coming back, I'd be like, "What? Are you retarded? Do you not read?" Like, you know? But like, I don't know. Like it was crazy, and to see that he was still held all. I mean, I get it because like the whole birth thing, like he is still like royalty, but still, you would think that some of these people would be more loyal to like Issei because he's the rightful king now, you know, and they
Yeah.
still don't care. You know, like another rebellion could literally occur right now, literally. But
Definitely, yeah. I mean, and of course we got to find out too about the guy. I won't say his name because he shows up in the later arcs, but the replacement for Ryufui. So you know, he's not putting out like any nonchalant performances for the Queen Mother. You know, someone else is going to bat, hitting home runs every night. But that guy is pretty awesome too. If you get to his stuff later on, but like we also get to see afterwards with like the Chancellor of the State, you know, Shabunkun becoming now the new Chancellor to the left. And like seeing the Shoei-kun becoming the chancellor to the right. So you basically had like Sei had his guy in the left side, and then you had Ryufui who had his guy and Shoei-kun on the right, which will later on set up like, you know, the events that probably would take place in the political aspect of Kingdom. And of course what will go down with Quinn towards the tail end.
yeah.
But I mean, the hype for that like is just absolutely crazy. I mean, just seeing that, but I think that pretty much covers the Sanyou aftermath arc. Because after that, like we just go full force into probably one of the most hype arcs in all of manga.
Yeah.
And I definitely think like just
yeah.
just saying based on like the fact that we've been on for like 2.5 hours just covering this.
Yep, alone,
I can only imagine what the
Next
coalition
stream, bro. It's gonna be like a 5-hour stream, like.
Like how long was this one? I
Yeah.
felt this was a long one. This was a small arc. Like,
Yeah.
No, exactly, bro.
Yeah, and we started at 3:30, so it's like 6 p.m. now. So like we legit been on for like at least 2.5 hours talking about Kingdom greatness, which hey, I can talk about for the full 8 hours, whatever the hangouts allow us.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how amazing
Yeah.
Kingdom is.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
we
sick.
can get an 8-hour stream for Coalition.
oh
for,
wait,
like,
last thing we gotta talk about because we didn't mention it. I was saving it for later. Renpa's hugs.
oh, Renpa's hug, yeah, dude, those are legendary. And then I forgot, you know, we're forgetting one thing was the Conky stuff. You know how he was torching the shit out of that guy. He's like, you know,
Oh,
like
yeah,
let
fucking
me
around
live.
with-
Like, yeah, it's like nah. He just fucking stabs him right through.
Dude, no, but for real, the hug thing was literally like, because like normally they have the speeches and they're like, all right, I'm gonna charge up all my men, but the hugs are like, this warmth, like,
It's like, what is it's like Renpa was hitting them with like his strongest hockey at that point, and like you know you just feel like
and
he's
like
got a
transferring it over to them.
yeah.
Like
He's like,
It was
he wants
so
some power.
awesome.
Like,
Yup.
like like Care
Oh
Bear
my
hugs
God.
on steroids or something. Like
Real, even take it. Because
God bless Renpa, bro.
just before we finish, I just want to mention like two things. I think we just because such like we've covered quite a lot of stuff.
yeah,
But like the first thing I'll mention is like during the obviously the Sanyou arc in the beginning with Wei and everything, when Shin kills the guy who's like basically doing barbarism and stuff. It's quite cool. They like foreshadowed some like future events a bit. Like there's a panel that basically explained that obviously Shin didn't get like any rewards and stuff. He got demoted, but his name spread through the or spread through Wei, the citizens and stuff. So they know his unit's a very kind unit and doesn't like treat people like shit. Basically, they're not like
Yeah.
warmongers essentially. So that was quite interesting for like future. I think that's going to be very important in the future when it comes to war again. And also the second one I'd say is literally after Sanyou arc finishes, and basically like Shin and I'll say usually have their little powwow when they talk to each other and like how you guys doing, like what's up with you, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And there's like it's the first time that Shin and Elsei's like visions have first like connected properly now, because
Yeah.
obviously Elsei's been saying unification of China the whole time, and Shin's like, nah, I just want to be great, like great, you know, one of the six great heavens basically, and he's just like,
Yeah.
and then Renpa's like, nope, that's not good enough anymore. So now Shin has
No.
the Shin has the same dream as Elsei now, which is pretty cool. So I
Yeah.
thought those were two really interesting things.
I mean,
From
like
this-
we
from
can
this
kind of
arc.
just say from like us from these 4 arcs that we pretty much covered. I mean, we'll start off with Miles. So Miles, like if you had to put like the Sanyou arc of all the arcs up until this point that you've read, would you say this one was the best one? Like would it top Bayou?
Me personally, I think that Sanyou had some of the most hype, fights, and
Yes.
the characters' interactions with each other was actually really cool as well. But personally, I think the Battle of Bayou arc is probably my favorite.
Yeah.
When it comes to the two of them, and I think that is because of the emotional impact that happened in the Bayou arc.
Mhm.
What happened with Shin and Oki and all that.
Yeah.
I just think in terms of like that arc, it had more of an emotional impact compared to the Sanyou arc, and it really influenced Shin's character. While the Sanyou arc, don't get me wrong, like it was a hype arc, it had good moments, but at the same time, I think I appreciated the Bayou arc, the Bayou arc more so than the
Definitely.
Sanyou.
Okay.
Yeah.
I respect that.
You're
Yeah.
more connected to Oki, you know.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think
But
that's
off a first impression we got with Renpa, I mean, like when it comes to like just seeing a character for the first time, this was a fantastic introduction to probably one of the most hyped characters we've seen thus far in the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, because it's like Oki left like that everlasting legacy, and then we get to see the legacy that Renpa laid down, and like who can be able to challenge that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that was amazing.
For me, it was like an emotional roller coaster. Like I said, the Kyokai part, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I think to me, it's like when we go to like Rinko and Shin, I think that is enough for me to put the
Yeah.
Sanyou arc as like my favorite of the arcs we've read thus far here.
Yeah, I would agree with you as well. Like the only issue I have is just the Oki's thing had a lot of impact though. Like at the end of that, I think it's never gonna. Sanyu's ending was not as good as Bayou's ending, but in the whole arc, I think Sanyou definitely beats Bayou by a bit, but not by a lot though.
Yeah. I mean, is there any last things you guys want to say real quick before we wrap up things here?
I think this is
Outer Haven's the
one
best.
of-
Outer Haven.
First of all, like I think this is a great arc especially for Shin. We get to see his rivals. We get to see like introduction of other rivals from other parts of China, and also we get to see him first. He's taking his big first steps to becoming a great general of the heavens. Like him beating Rinku was the first step to becoming that strong. So that was awesome. It's been it's almost my favorite arc, almost. But next week, dun dun dun.
Yeah. I'll talk with you guys, I guess, like afterwards when we're done the thing, so kind of plan it out. Because I feel like basically like the first half of like that arc that we're gonna get into legit could be the same time limit that we just like went through right now.
And that's
That's
only
why I
half.
said 2 parts, guys.
And I feel like I would do that, but knowing how much this arc means to me, I honestly would not mind going the full 8 hours just talking about the greatness.
I would.
Like, that's how much it means to me, man. Like,
Just gonna have to start our stream earlier. That's it.
yeah, we're gonna start off right in the morning, like
go until nighttime. Like,
yeah. The stream hits 8 hours, we just start up another one. Like, it just doesn't matter. That was part 1. Like, that was part 1. Then we'll get part 2 in. Oh man. But yeah, any last things you guys want to say real quick, and then I'll wrap it up.
I got nothing.
yeah, I'm good. Unless
Good
I'm
arc. Good character.
great.
First
Definitely.
anime, anything or
Oh, I just said good arc, good characters, and the Kyokai part was great.
Yeah.
yeah. And
Long
I'll just
live-
say if any
Yeah. Like I'll say long
gonna
live
say-
Rinko, and like, Grandpa's the goat,
The part,
and
the part
we
where
gotta give a shout out to Mobu though. Gotta give a shout out to
Actually, one
Yeah.
thing about Rinko was the fact that what's it called? Shin, when he was saying like people are pushing me forward, like Oki was one of them, and it made a lot of sense because Oki was on his side, always like trying to help him. But, like Rinko, even though he was an enemy, Shin still kind of like considered him like, yo, this guy's pushing me forward to like get stronger. You know, that's one thing I did like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And just, I would say anyone out there who hasn't like read Kingdom, you better get on it now. Like these
Yeah,
books
like
is sick.
if
I
you've been
trade
reading,
takeoff.
if you've been catching up with our arc discussions and you haven't felt inversed into the hype, I can maybe understand where you're coming from. But after this arc that we're about to get into coming up next week, if you don't, like, I'm legit gonna have to send Conky after one of you guys with like a bag of eyes, you know, just to kind of, you know.
You gonna start reading yet, or are we gonna have to come after you?
I mean, I have to do that with Stebo apparently. So
Oh, yeah. Apparently,
yeah. Oh, man.
And also, it'd be quite a cool question. Who's your MVP? Like, who's your favorite character from this arc, guys? So just put it in the comments or whatever, and just
Yeah, make sure, in the comment section down below as well after the video ends, make sure to leave us your thoughts about how you feel about the Sanyou arc, the Sanyou Aftermath, and of course the arcs we covered before, which are the Alliance and Third Faction. Where would you rank it in your personal favorite arcs of Kingdom? Like I would say, like, drop us maybe like your top 3 characters from the arcs that we covered, and of course like the MVP. Like if I were to say mine right now, I would definitely say like it would probably be Rinko, just because of the emotional impact that we got from his battle, the little bit of the backstory, and him being like the stepping stone for Shin as like he progresses to his dreams. So
mine's definitely Shin. Like that Rinko fight was still like legendary. Like I can't even.
Mine would still be Kyokai, just because like soloed everyone that came at her crew.
Yeah. I don't know. Personally, MVP wise, I'd have to say Moten. Because, like, literally this guy was, like, considering, like, all right, like, my grandfather's lost every one of these fights against Renpa. Like, I might just have to go kill this fucker myself.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Moten's the best.
Shin. Dude, that's what I'm saying. He met with Shin, met with Sohun. He's like, guys, like, I need your help. Like, you know, we're going to go, like, get achievements. And, like, he's not afraid either. Like, even in that engagement, he took, like, the most dangerous spot. You know what I mean? Because, like, he's that confident of himself.
Yeah.
No, I like that character a lot.
Yeah. Miles, you said your MVP yet or no?
I think I said probably Rinko because, like you said, the emotional impact that it had on Shin as well. And it made Shin realize how far he needs to go, you know?
Yeah.
And also with the battle in and of itself, you know, when, like, I think we mentioned this before, when, you know, Shin, like, nearly took down Rinko, and then all of a sudden he sees Rinko getting back up. You know, he's like, he said he's not going to get back up. He's not going to get back up. And he eventually gets back up and he's like, yo, I'm going to take you down now. And then Shin still ends up winning the fight, but it was like, holy shit.
Like, I could have just died right there. You know?
Like any normal person would be like, you know, I should be in the afterlife right now. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, Hugh, what's
Actually,
up, man? Like, how's it been?
Yo!
He's like, I'm just chilling. How about you? You get that dream? No, because I'm here.
Actually, I have to change my pick because I just realized if it wasn't for Kyokai,
you're gonna go for Moten? Nice.
No, Kyokai. Like, if it wasn't for Kyokai given,
Nice.
if it wasn't for Kyokai giving the medicine to Shin the night before, he'd be dead. He would definitely be dead.
You guys remember that?
Yeah. All right, guys. I think we're probably gonna wrap it up here. So if you stick with us for the last 2.5 hours plus that we've been talking about the absolute greatness of Kingdom, like, you guys are the true MVP. Like I said, Rinko was the MVP, but you guys are the true MVP. And yeah, look forward to next week's stream when we talk about the Coalition. We're gonna decide whether if we want to just cover the entire thing or do like a part 1 and 2. So look out on the Discord. We'll probably talk about it on there as well, like whatever plans we have for that. Miles, thank you for coming through, bro. Like, anytime we can get you to talk about Kingdom, especially since you're on your journey right now. I mean, it's just always awesome just getting to have like other people who are just experiencing the series for the first time and like just getting caught up just through these discussions, just to hear like your thoughts on it, man. It's just really good.
Yeah, no
thanks for coming
problem.
through,
Thanks for having me
Miles.
on.
Yeah, and hopefully we can try and get you in also for the Coalition, because like since you just completed it right now, I mean, like I just want to be able to hear those thoughts for like the first time.
Oh
on
my
here.
god, I have so many thoughts.
Yeah, this is what I meant. Like, we might do like an 8-hour stream. Like, I wish I was joking, but like, there might be the chance. Like, It's that much we gotta talk about. But yeah, definitely go check out my man Miles, Professor Anime. I have his channel in the description box down below. Check out his journey on Kingdom and other series that he's doing right now. Follow us, of course, on our Twitters. We have also down in the description below, as well as other YouTube channels for the other guys who don't have Twitter. Follow the Discord if you haven't already, so we talk about more Kingdom greatness and other series as well. Sunday we don't have any plans for anything right now, but for the guys who are caught up to Kingdom, I'm going to be streaming the latest chapter for Kingdom over on my channel, so if you guys want to check that out as well. But the next time you'll see us, we'll definitely be here for Thursday when we talk about One Piece, and then of course we'll be back on here for sure Saturday or Sunday to talk about the greatness of Kingdom and that coalition greatness. So yeah. Anything else you want to say, or no? That's about it.
And
about it.
don't two things. Like and subscribe, of course. Subscribe to our
Yeah, make sure you do that.
And like,
if you're liking the streams, like
like the stream definitely. And also, I'm sorry to do this to you again, but hashtag fuck Mobu.
Nikki.
Oh man, I'll let that slide. But you know what?
Just
Okay, I'll say this next week it will probably stop for good reason. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, you best, because like, you know, some great, real amazing stuff just happens.
yeah. So next week, be prepared for the movie.
Oh my god, this is gonna be like the longest movie we've done in like a long time. So like, this is gonna be hype.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, thank you for showing up, of course, for the last 2.5 hours, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Outer Haven.
Yeah, Nikki.
Disperse.
Later, guys.